What's up, guys? Thanks for coming out. Super excited about this season. We feel like the continuity and certainly be led by Coach Finch and his staff. They've done a great job this summer challenging the guys to get better. We like our core. We like that we're going to be competing in a loaded Western Conference. And I don't like monologues. So, any questions? Is to be better than last year. We've got to win a playoff series. It's been way too long since we've had success in the postseason. So, I don't think we have a specific win total. I think we'll see more parity in the Western Conference than we've seen in a long time, especially when you don't see a lot of teams that tanking is the wrong term, but I don't think as many teams are as aware of draft status this year than maybe last couple of years. So, as long as we're better than we were last year, but let's be honest, we have to have success in the postseason for us to be taken seriously.
When you look back at that small sample size at the end of the year when you had some guys healthy and playing, how do you kind of decide how much stock you put in that and how much is still to be known about what this team can do together?
You guys know me now. I'm pretty obnoxiously optimistic, so I put a lot of stock in it. I think oftentimes the players know the best. I think our group feels confident in their ability to win at a pretty high level. At times, we certainly didn't do that. Our record against sub-500 teams was reflective of that. And at times, you referenced that stretch where I thought we played really good basketball. And it seemed to be we found a bit of an identity where our size was really a real good indicator of success. So, we like what we have. We're bringing back just pretty much the entire rotation. Again, we love our coaching staff. We love our core pieces, and fingers crossed that the optimism is well placed.
Sorry, real fast. Can you guys just wait for a microphone and then state your name?
Full name, sir.
What specific ways do you think Mike Conley helped you?
Just his ability to he brings such a calming influence, and he's so positive. I think not just professional sports life right now is not really defined by positivity, and Mike comes in with a smile every day. He's seen everything and anything that could happen on an NBA court. So the combination of positivity and the calming influence, and coupled with the fact he's a really good basketball player. We kind of joke that I don't think enough people talk about how good he is still. We talk about him being the grizzled vet, the veteran leadership voice, but he's still a heck of a player. So in unison, all those things make him a real special addition, and we're lucky to have him.
Given his value in looking at your roster near term, beyond the season, have you talked at all about after this season?
Yeah, when we got Mike, our goal was for this to be the last spot. So you never know how things are going to develop, but certainly we didn't get Mike just to be a short-term thing. When you get a person as special as Mike is, you want to ensure that he doesn't leave here. And it's been really neat watching Mike and Mary not just adjust the team, but adjust the city. They love living in Minnesota. They bought a house. Mike's never been in a city with other professional sports franchises. So, Twins games, Viking games, Loons games. It's really cool to watch him and his family really buy in to complete this community.
Tim, I follow directions. Joe Schmidt, Channel 5. The question is, Ant had this terrific offseason. A lot of people are expecting him to take his game to the next level. Two-part question. What does that look like to you? And secondly, is this now Ant's team?
Yeah, I think all our success, and it's a consistent message that our players have heard all summer, they're going to hear tonight, we have a team dinner. It's all about team success. If we win, we'll be taken more seriously. If we win, the personal accolades will come. Relative to whose team, it's a collective team. We have to win to be taken seriously. And I don't think until you have postseason success, I don't think those things matter. So I think we have a core group that's really bought in, that's really connected, and is really excited about starting the season.
Hey, Tim, Jamal Collier from ESPN. I wanted to ask you about the partnership between Kat and Rudy, kind of specifically. What, a year later, have you maybe learned about those two playing together? What are you kind of eager to see from them this season to just kind of prove about their fit together?
Yeah, I think, we certainly expect to be clunky initially, and then we got thrown a couple curveballs. Cat had a fantastic offseason last year, and then he got sick coming into the training camp, so we didn't have the benefit of training camp. Rudy was coming off a grueling European championship. I think the thing that's probably not talked about enough is how much sacrifice both those guys have made, right? It's not, they're playing completely different roles. Prior to getting here, Rudy only knew one city, one set of teammates. So I think both those guys are very willing and capable of putting team in front of individual productivity. So I think what we learned as the season progressed is what spots can we find for them to be more successful. I think Coach Finch did a great job, and he was dealt a tough hand trying to make that work. And I thought in the playoffs, I thought those two were really good. Retrospectively, sometimes when you lose, you're so bummed out, and then the emotions subside. You look at the season as a whole. We had plenty of lows. We had more highs, and I was pretty proud of how those guys slowly but surely got to know each other. And I think the best combination basketball for those guys is yet to come.
Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. Tim, you talked a lot this summer about this team needing to be more mature. How do you, from your seat, kind of impose maturity, and instead of having that be just something that comes naturally to some of the younger players on this team?
Yeah, I think it's collective. And when I say the team's mature, it's an organization has to mature. We can't hold players to standards that we're not ourselves held to. So, look, it's our lack of organizational success is very evident and clear. So until we take ourselves more seriously, no one else will take us more seriously. So there's been a very loud mandate and risen bar about how we handle ourselves. It's 82 games. There's no BCS. We can't take nights off. We had way too many nights last year where we didn't show up. And then against the elite teams, we show what we're capable of. So, a win's a win's a win. I mean, think about last year, some of the losses we could have gotten back. We could have been a home court playoff team. We could have hosted the first play-in game. So I think they're sick of hearing it, but I think they know it comes from a good place and know until we take those steps, we're not going to be where we want to be.
And are you optimistic you might be able to get something done with Jaden by the start of the season?
Yeah, certainly. I think we want to be an organization that rewards our players. I'm super proud of Jaden's development, both as a player and person. So we've had some really constructive conversation with his agents, and fingers crossed we get something done. The cool thing about any extensions talk is they're completely positive. You're a year ahead of it, so there's no gun to our head. But we had our druthers. We'd like to get something done sooner rather than later.
Dane Moore, Blue Wire. What would you most like to see Ant learn this season?
To do a post-game interview after winning a playoff series, that'd be great. He just approaching the game every night to the area he's in right now. He has elite talent. He's an elite person. So that pool of players is so small, and their ability to pull on it every night. You're not going to be great 82 nights a year, but every time you play, there has been expectation of elite habits and elite controllables. So that's our challenge to him.
And then with Rudy and just kind of in general with rim protection, how have you seen that kind of the value of elite rim protection evolve over maybe the past decade, and where is it at right now, and how much winning can that drive?
I think you got to be top 10 defense to win a championship. I think it's been pretty consistent. And there's a couple ways to do it. You can have a bunch of elite perimeter defenders. I think we have a couple elite perimeter defenders. And certainly the easiest way to do it is have rim protection. And not just rim protection, but defensive rebounding. So relative to rim protection and rebounding, Rudy's certainly shown what he can do in those areas. I think Rudy will be the first to tell you he had a good year by most standards, but by his standards, he wasn't where he was previously. So we're pretty excited to see a better version of what we saw last year from Rudy. I thought our defense and the numbers to support it with Rudy on the court was elite. How do we sustain that? It can't just be Rudy. We got Jaden and Ant. I think both guys could be all league defenders. I think Kyle's ability to guard all over the place was pretty unique and really was a godsend last year, especially with all the injuries. So we kind of like the defensive bones of this team.
Tim, Dave Campbell with AP. What would a successful season for Rudy look like to you?
Again, it's sounds like I'm sure repeating myself. I think a successful season for all of us is just winning more. Rudy's done everything individually that you could imagine. He's been all NBA. He's been an all-star. I think collectively we're going to be judged on the wins and losses, and can we finally make some noise in the postseason?
Tim, Jace Frederick, Pioneer Press. Coach Finch has talked a lot this summer about needing more structure in the offense. It's not something he's necessarily relied on in the past. What do you think the balance is between a coach kind of sticking to their beliefs of what is the best brand of basketball versus being malleable to, I guess, best support their roster?
I think the greatest thing about Finch, and there's a laundry list because he's just a brilliant coach and a great guy, is we have constant conversations, and the coach's job is to maximize their roster, and that's what Finch has done, is going to do. So he's not so dogmatic about this or that. If he sees something that he thinks can improve the team through strategy, he's going to do it. So it's really neat to work with a coach like Finchy, who's so open and constantly challenging not just the players but himself. How can I get better? How can we get better? So I think his ability to kind of adjust and tweak is as good as I've ever seen.
John Krasinski from The Athletic. Tim, this is Jaden's first time going through a contract extension kind of talk. Do you have conversations with him just as he's kind of seeing a little bit of the business side too, in addition to all the playing?
Yeah.
And how do you work through that?
Grabbed him the other day. This is anytime that you have extension talks, it's a wonderful sign that both the organization and player want to further cement the relationship. So this year should be fun. At times contractual negotiations can be contentious, but certainly not in an extension year. It's a great pat on his back to say that we're so actively trying to get something done. It's reflective of all his work and his productivity, and again, not just as a player but as a person. So should never get weird. We're the luckiest guys in the world. We're just talking about how many zeros players are going to get. So and he gets it, and he's a great guy, and I think he's enjoying this, and I think he's excited about what this year's going to look like.
Max Fuller here from KFAN. It's my first time here, so nice to meet you.
What's up, Max?
First question, do front office people trash talk each other like players do?
Oh, you should hear me and Pat Riley. No, absolutely not. I mean, I don't. No, I haven't won enough to trash talk anybody. So, no trash talk here. Ton of respect for everyone else in the different seats. There's a pretty good sense of fraternity. It's a pretty hard job. So no, there's no trash talking from my seat.
What player on this roster do you think is poised to make the biggest leap this season?
That's a good question. The easy one is Ant, coming off the great summer. I had a great summer. I don't think has been talked about enough. In Nickel with his playing Team Canada. Nickel has played, I think, for 4 or 5 coaches. Has been traded twice. He came over as part of the Mike Conley trade and was uncertain. He was worried about finding a role here, and I thought he was fantastic in the postseason. He was fantastic late in the season, and I think another guy that has all league defensive potential.
Kyle Teige, Score North. Last summer was kind of a whirlwind for you with changing jobs and the draft and free agency and the trade and then kind of a weird training camp. After a year under your belt, do you feel kind of more comfortable here in this role and being in Minnesota?
Yeah, 2,000%. Nowhere to eat, nowhere to get my hair cut. Other day we did my wife did. I didn't do much. We did our first charitable event and saw a bunch of friendly faces. So it's, kids are settled. When I got here, my wife was going through a pretty tough pregnancy. We had a kid here, so we got a Minnesotan. Is that right, Britt? Official Minnesotan for the Massachusetts guy. I like that. So yeah, it's a whole, and I knew Finchy well, didn't know the players well. When I got here, I told these guys, you can't rush trust. I can't tell you to trust me. I think we're gonna have to get through a year, and a year later, there's not any conversation I'm reluctant to have with these guys because I feel like we've been through a lot, and now the ability to have tough conversations can only be created through time and different interactions. So I feel a whole lot better and a whole lot more comfortable than last year. I think back there.
Pete Rose, BMA Networks. Tim, you seem like a really nice guy. Most of the, team presidents nice like you. And what do you expect at the end of the season? What are your goals for this team this year?
I try to be nice, but some of these local media guys who live in Wisconsin make it hard. It's where this is a really, really hard league. So we're really focused on inputs. If we do everything we can do to control the controllables, we work harder than everybody else. If we're good teammates, not just players, but throughout the organization, and we play as hard as possible, we lose, we can live with it. Last year at times we didn't do that. So we just have to consistently control the controllables. Again, our players are sick of me saying it. I think if you do that and you have enough talent, we have great ownership. We have a fantastic coach. Sometimes your cards comes up. I don't think there's a linear path to success. Looking back, so much fun watching Denver win the championship. Denver lost 4-1 2 years ago in the first round to the eventual champion. We lost 4-1 last year, the eventual champion. That's not a linear path for us to win the championship, but I think you have to focus on inputs. And the more you do that, the more you create culture. It's an overused term, but I think it's really, really important. You give yourself a chance. And then it's matchups. Are you healthy in the postseason? We kind of limped in the postseason last year. We're down 3 of our top 7 guys. And you can live with the results. So I think for us, collectively, if we're healthy, we feel like we're a team that can make noise in the playoffs. We got to get there, and that won't be easy. And that's the ultimate goal, and I think it's an attainable one. One question only, Jay. Sorry.
Tim, do you think there's anything with the roster that may make it difficult to be consistent through a regular NBA season, just given the way that this team matches up probably really well against some teams, maybe not so well in others, where it might be like, wow, this looks like 2 different teams, but that could be a little bit matchup dependent?
Yeah, I think if it was more of a one-off, but our issues last year were pretty consistent versus, some of the losses we had, some of the season sweeps we had, we're the only teams that got swept by those teams. So I don't think there's always going to be certain teams you match up better with, but I think our depth is pretty unique when we're healthy. I think we can play different styles, but I think it's more internal improvement and not specific to skill set, more internal improvement to mindset.
Tim, what are you excited about with Shake Milton and Troy Brown?
Their positional versatility, their size. Shake's really interesting. Shake's played for great Philadelphia teams that have won 50+ for numerous years, and his numbers as a starter have been really impressive. When he's had a consistent role, he's been a really, really good NBA player. His ability to get in the paint and make late finishes and late passes, I think, will be really beneficial. It's pretty fascinating. Troy's 24 and it's going to 6th or 7th year. I thought last year he gave really good minutes to a really good Lakers team. His ability to rebound the ball, he makes quick decisions with the ball. I think his ability to read the court and see things is something that really appealed to Finchy. So I think versatility and really they're young vets. Both of them are young, but both of them played a lot of basketball. So their ability to hit the ground running. Thank you.
John Krasinski with The Athletic. Chris, Tim was just up here saying that to be a successful season, it's about time for this team to win a playoff series. Just what do you think about that barometer and the attainability of something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly our goal is to advance in the playoffs. We've been there twice now. So, I think, getting there is the first step. Obviously, being able to navigate through the playoffs, something that we feel like we should be able to do if we, are able to build the right habits through the rest of the season.
What do you think has to happen the most, I guess, to put you guys in the right position to do that?
Well, I mean, we still got some things to figure out. We got to find a chemistry here in camp, find an identity. We were never really able to find an identity last year. We had to we're a bit of a chameleon, kind of changing all the time just to survive the season or whatever was thrown our way. But yeah, we got to have a great camp and look for a good start. So.
Kind of Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. Kind of along those lines, with having a good training camp, building the chemistry. You had a lot of guys who played internationally this summer. You have a trip to Abu Dhabi coming up here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you concerned at all about maybe tired legs, availability, kind of even load management with all this kind of travel these guys have been doing the last 6 weeks or so?
Not really. The World Cup finished 3 weeks ago. Guys have been in really good shape, continuing work here in the building. Nobody came back with any unnecessary bumps and bruises. The Abu Dhabi trip is opportunity to really come together as a team. There's, the way our preseason in general maps out, there's a lot of really good blocks of practice time. So I like that. So no, not really concerned.
Tim and you kind of have harped on the fact that this team needs to be more mature. What specific areas do you think you need to make the biggest leaps in that area, and how can you, from your seat, affect that?
Well, certainly, leading the league in technicals is not something we're proud of. That's got to change. We were, I think, 7-13 against the bottom 6 teams in the league last year. So it's a little bit immature in our approach, readiness, stuff like that. Mostly those things.
Hey, Chris, Jamal Collier from ESPN. Talk specifically about, Carl and Rudy and their pairing together. Obviously, the injury to Cat last year kind of probably, stunted some of that development. But kind of what things are you looking forward to get those guys working on the same page during this preseason? How can you sort of help expedite that going into the year?
Yeah, I mean, we'll do a lot of work with those guys together, in player development, small group work for sure. I think through the season last year, Ant and Rudy had a better understanding. It's not the finished product by any stretch of the imagination, but you felt it getting better and better. I think key for us is to recapture the chemistry that Ant and Cat have always had, and that's I'm not overly concerned about that. But because we played in a very different rhythm for most of the season, when Carl came back, that 2-man game between him and Ant wasn't as prevalent as it needs to be or should be. So reestablishing that is going to be key for us to start the season.
Chris, Michael Rand from the Star Tribune. You said you're still looking for an identity. Do you have in mind, what's this team's best identity, if you can find it?
I think we should be defensively led. We have a lot of individual defenders. Certainly, Rudy, the back line. Offensively, I think we have to be way more mindful of our spacing and figure out how we can best, kind of utilize Cat in that way. But we just, we need to be kind of a little bit tougher, more 50-50 balls. I don't think we got enough of that last year. Just get a little bit grittier, and play a little bit bigger like a big team should. Pound the glass, both ends. Be a little bit more physical in the paint.
Chris, Dave Campbell with AP. What's the next step for Ant defensively?
Defensively, I think it's consistency for one. Not waiting for these high leverage moments to really dig in and guard. Certainly has to be better in transition. He's not always consistent getting back in transition in the way that we need him to. And then all of our perimeter players have to rebound at a much higher level than they have been. So.
Chris Chase Frederick with the Pioneer Press. Consistency kind of falls on everyone, but it seemed like Ant and Jaden were certainly like rise to the occasion type players.
Yeah.
Is them bringing it on a nightly basis something that will really help a team take a step in that regard?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, by nature, young players tend to be inconsistent. And, both those guys have shown the willingness and the ability and to play in big moments, but it's sometimes with the nights when you're not feeling it 100%, or you're not playing on national TV, or you're not playing a marquee matchup. Those are the teams and those are the games that you got to go in and find a way to win, and that's all about your habits and your approach. So.
Larry Fitzgerald, National Programming Network. Coach, can you describe your philosophy and your approach to your offensive mindset?
Yeah, I think in general, we always like to play fast, but we may not have the fastest team right now. We always like to play a little bit freer, but heading into this season, I can see us with a little bit more structure. Spacing around the two bigs is going to be paramount. The rest of it I don't see changing. We want to share the ball, make the right play. We've always been a movement team. I want to maintain that. Got to get back on the offensive glass. We punted offensive rebounding last year to try to shore up our transition defense, but this year I think we got to be able to do both. The best teams do. I think offensively we kind of dipped last year in a lot of categories that are correctable. So offensive efficiency, we're going to need an uptick there. So.
Dane Moore, Coach, you've talked about wanting to generate more turnovers and rebound better. How do you do both of those things kind of simultaneously?
Well, I mean, if we can generate a turnover every time down, they don't get to shoot the ball, so we don't have to worry about rebounding. So, it's literally about your level of aggressiveness. To me, they're not related in the way that maybe you're asking. I think, when you looked at some of the metrics for us last year, like people out-rebounded us on long rebounds more than any other team in the league. Again, that has to do with perimeters. The level of aggressiveness on the ball and trying to close down spaces is really what forces turnovers, and we were actually pretty good at that last year. The rebounding piece is on everybody. So, yeah, I think you can do them both at the same time. So.
And then with the bench, you talk about the identity. That seemed to be the thing that was changing constantly last year, was the bench as injuries and stuff happened. How much can a kind of shored up bench group help establish that identity and give you more consistency?
Well, I think, we have the depth to be able to, to have a really solid second unit with its own identity. What that looks like right now, I'm not 100% sure. I could see obviously Kyle being key to that, but being able to play a multitude of roles. Cat also being, key to that as he moves from the starting four to the backup five, and how we fill out around that, we'll figure out over the next month.
Chris Joe Schmidt, Channel 5. You mentioned the record against bottom-feeding teams. What can you do as a coach to change that? I mean, are you going to do anything differently than you did last year when you approached those games?
Well, you first have to bring it to the attention of the team, keep reminding them. That's first and foremost. We'll look at all sort of ways to be better prepared. We're going to talk about it from day one. Maybe how we prepare, whether some teams are shoot-around teams, some teams don't like shoot-around. Every team has its own personality, so not really sure what we can draw upon last year will be unique to this year. We'll have to figure that out. But.
Kyle Tighe, the depth last year was obviously awesome for a coach, but this year team's even deeper. But does it also present a challenge for some of the younger guys, like maybe a Leonard Miller or a Josh Minot that might not start the season in rotation? And how do you keep them kind of engaged and ready to play?
I mean, our coaches do an amazing job keeping all those guys engaged and ready. It will be tough for those guys to see minutes. That's just normal in a young team. For a young player and an experienced team. But they have a lot to learn. So their plate should be full, just trying to learn the league, figure out who they are as the players, learn our system, and then staying ready for their opportunity. Because in the league, your opportunity always comes. It always comes.
Hey, Chris. Max Fuller here from KFAN. When Naz, Carl, and Rudy were all healthy last season, we kind of saw two of them out of the three being in the rotation at all times. And when Naz got re-signed, you even said something about having all three of them on the floor at the same time. So what does that specific rotation look like between those three?
Well, I mean, I could see Naz playing heavy minutes at the 4, which the knock-on effect for that is going to be Kyle heavy minutes at the 3. The good thing about that is, right before Naz got hurt, I thought he really found his kind of groove at the 4, really figured out what that looked like. Now, defensively, he's got to get better and better there, and we're going to have to help him with some schemes and stuff like that. But, so, yeah, I think, this is all about trying to get your best players on the floor, and he's clearly in our top 8 players, so.
Chris, do you envision, especially with like the starting unit, punting more on like the free-flowing offense, or is that something where you would like to see players continue to evolve and learn how to do that?
I think honestly, today's game is pretty free-flowing all the way around. I don't think we're gonna punt on it. We still want to give those guys freedom. I just think players are at their best when they have that. It's just the structure and the early concepts that allow them to get to those places, So,
Chris, Darren Wolfson from Channel 5. Corliss Williamson, what does that addition do to help you guys?
Yeah, I'm really excited about bringing Corliss on staff. Just, another guy who's been in the league, kind of done it all. NCAA champion, NBA champion, 6th man of the year. Played with toughness. There's no nonsense. And I think he's a guy that will really relate well to kind of the top of the roster, being able to kind of message them in the right way as the season goes along. Listen, that's I've probably made that comment more in jest than I did, and but. You never know, right? You never know. So it's not at the forefront of my teacher plan going into the season. So, but we better be good at zone. That's all I'll say. Thanks. Appreciate it.
state your name and affiliation. Starting off with John.
We ain't got no Gatorade by any chance? If you mind. I appreciate it.
Carl, coming out, John Krasinski with the Athletic, coming into year 9 here. Just what's your overall mindset coming off of the summer you had with the Dominican and getting back to fully healthy Karl Anthony Towns?
Just go out here, be the best teammate I could be, and put the work in, and hopefully results show.
What, how much of a sample size did you get, or did you get enough of a sample size working with Rudy, working with this group last year to really know how to attack this season, or do you need a little bit more time, given all the time that you did miss last?
Me and Rudy needed more time. Obviously, my injury didn't help, so it's gonna be good to be out there with him and be healthy doing it. I think we're starting off on a good note, so just get right to it.
Jamal Collier with ESPN. I just want to ask you about your experience playing for Dominican. How would you describe that, and kind of how do you think that will benefit you going to this season?
It was refreshing. It was refreshing to be able to be in that environment again, playing basketball, in FIBA basketball in the World Cup. It's great to be able to play some meaningful basketball early before the season starts in the summer, get my body right, get in shape, and just come in here with knocking off some of the cobwebs already over in Manila.
Tim Conley was in here earlier and said expectation is to win a playoff series for this team. I'm just kind of curious for your thoughts on that expectation, and just we're curious on that thoughts, that expectation. Is that something that
obviously you want to win a playoff series, but it starts with today and tomorrow with training camp starting, just to look at every day as an opportunity to get 1% better and continue to find ways that we could be that team. So when that time comes, we put ourselves in a great position and we're ready for the challenge.
Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. Carl, in the time that you did have with Rudy Ant late in the season, what did you maybe learn about the times you guys played well that you can maybe bottle coming into this season?
Just trusting each other, letting the game come to us, being aggressive, all three of us. So take whatever is given to us and letting the defense dictate who gets the shot. So just not forcing anything, just being smart with the basketball.
And just maybe from an emotional perspective, from a family perspective, what did it mean for you to represent the Dominican Republic in the World Cup this year?
It meant a lot. It meant everything to be able to go out there with my mother's country, our country, and represent us. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to my family. And I get a lot of pride out of being able to say I put that jersey on again and was able to be a man of my word that I said I would play again.
Carl, I think last year you talked about how at Media Day over the course of your career, you've been asked in the offseason to maybe put on weight or lose weight or develop your body in a way to be curtailed to the position you're going to play. How do you approach that when you're not just a power forward and you're not just a center? How did you approach that this summer of trying to be able to be, all right, I need to play the 4 sometimes next to Rudy, and I need to be the 5 also at other times?
Just off experience, just seeing how life has been. I've been high in weight, I've been low in weight, just knowing where I feel good. I think if my body feels good and I feel good, regardless of the position I'm at, I'll be able to be dominant and effective.
Brett Robson with Min Post. Being the center and being the power forward in most any offensive defense has very different characteristics about it. On defense, what are the ways that you needed to adjust most last year in your brief time and then this year coming up? And then offensively, was it hard to basically not have that squaring up on the center and taking people to the rim as naturally as you did last year? The year before.
Yeah, just defensively, just do more perimeter defense, run around screens, get around and stuff like that. Some things I'm confident and know I could do. So just doing whatever it takes to be effective for this team. And offensively, I feel I work hard enough on my game, and I have the ability to be able to do that against anybody. So just great thing about playing with the DR team, find more ways to be effective in those situations.
What aspect, as you look at this team and you've talked to Finchy about planning, what are you most excited about in terms of your contribution to this team coming forward?
Just take my World Cup experience and bring it to the team and utilize it to be effective for this team. So just taking that experience, that wisdom, that experience, and then utilizing it.
What's up, Kat? Max Fuller here from KFAN.
What's up,
in the NFL, you see a lot of celebration dances. You know, Justin Jefferson has the gritty and all that. I think we need more dancing in the NBA. What would your celebration dance be?
I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I love when Torian Prince did the sleep celebration.
Oh, me too, man.
Yeah, he didn't keep that for a long time. So
in the past, fans and analysts both have kind of criticized you for your debates with the referees in the past. But it seemed like when you came back from injury that happened a lot less. Was that more of a conscious thing on your part, or is that just kind of where you were at in life?
just every day I grow, so just using the growth to my advantage.
Kat, Joe Schmidt, Channel 5. Kat, how impatient are you to take this thing to the next level? You seem to have a lot of players and talent in place. You know, is this the year? Is that the way you're looking at this, the year for the Timberwolves to get over the hump?
I don't think I've ever come in with lack of confidence for my team. So I think for me, it's just about us just being disciplined and having a disciplined approach every day to practice and the games. So it starts with tomorrow, and just continue to work.
Kyle Tighe, Score North. One of your former teammates, Ricky Rubio, announced last month that he was stepping away from the game to kind of focus on his mental health. And you've been really open and vocal about your own mental health and stuff in the past. Do you have any messages kind of just out there to the public or words of encouragement for people that are kind of going through it?
There's nothing soft with taking care of yourself. I think that's what gets lost in society and with social media and everything. It seems to be looked on as being soft, taking care of yourself and having self-care. So don't be afraid to have self-care and to really be disciplined and intentional about taking care of yourself and from mentally to physically.
Last one, guys.
Is that me?
Carl Allen from the Filipino American National News.
Kamusta ka?
Mabuti. Doing good.
Love that.
You got to see the fandom of Filipinos who love basketball. What was your impression of that? And you also had some private time with Manny Pacquiao. Was there any wisdom that he was able to bestow on you?
On the first part, Philippines is one of the most craziest, most avid basketball fans I've ever seen. So it was an honor to be in the Philippines playing basketball in Manila. I had such a magical experience that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. I can't speak any more highly of Philippines because they were just so amazing. It was awesome to be able to be in that environment playing in the World Cup there, and also to be part of the most attended World Cup game. I think it shows the fandom that that Filipinos have for basketball. So it was amazing. And Manny Pacquiao has been a friend of mine for a couple years now. I was with him at training camp it was Errol Spence. It turned out to be Ugas at the end after he backed out. So I've been very fortunate to know one of the greatest boxers ever, and to meet up with him again and catch up, not only just because of who he is, but also in his motherland of Philippines. It meant a lot to be able to just catch up and talk boxing, talk life, talk about him and his all-star game and his triple doubles he's been getting over there and stuff. So it was really fun.
John Krasinski from The Athletic. Rudy, just how different do you feel in coming into year 2 in Minnesota versus year 1, and just knowing, having the familiarity here and everything?
It's a lot different, getting to experience moving, the trade, new franchise, new fan base, new coaching staff, new teammates. It was a process. It was a fun process, but it's still a process. And this year, we've been through a lot last year. I thought it was a really interesting year. I think we've grown a lot individually, collectively, and now I feel really excited, being back here with this group, and yeah, I can feel the energy. I can feel that it's going to be a good year for us. So really excited.
Did you get enough time on the floor with Cat last year, given all the time that he missed, to really build what you need to build from a chemistry, feeding off of each other standpoint, or is that still a work in progress for you?
I think it's always a work in progress. You can't get enough, and obviously last year, I don't know how many games Cat missed, but yeah, 52. So definitely not. But I was really grateful that we got to play in the playoffs together. Go through that series, and yeah, we've been able to learn every day, and we're gonna keep learning every day and trying to make each other better every day. That's the plan.
Hey, Rudy, Jamal Collier from ESPN. I want to ask about your partnership with Cat as well and Fitz. What's something that you maybe learned about him over the course of the year of being his teammate or getting to know him? Obviously, you didn't play a lot together, but something you learned about him now that you didn't know a year ago.
Mainly, I think I got to know him as a person. When you play against somebody and you're always really competitive, you don't get to sometimes see the human being behind the player, and I really got to get to know him, and he's a really kind person, really good human being, and more importantly, I think it goes from there. I knew what he could do as a basketball player. Maybe his passing, if I gotta say something, I think his passing, I didn't get to see how good he was of a passer playing against him, but yeah, he's really good person, really good player. So it's fun to be part of that process.
And then just kind of the expectations you all have as a team. Tim Conley was in here earlier and said winning a playoff series is the expectation. How do you want this team to handle that and sort of internalize sort of the pressure of that came with after you came over in the trade last year?
I think the main thing for us is just be in the moment. We know where we want to go. We know what's the ultimate goal. It's not it's pretty obvious what it is, but have a great training camp, build winning habits, and just get better every day, and hold each other accountable at the highest level. And I think if we do that, we're going to have a really good year. And there's always going to be ups and downs. That's part of the NBA season. But I think if we build those habits, the goal is to be a top defensive team in this league and go from there. I think everything else will fall into place if we really focus on that.
Rudy, Dave Campbell with AP. Your chemistry with Ant, what does the next step in that look like on the court?
I think just keep being there for one another, keep being ourselves. I think we complement each other really well. And, I think if we, once again, I don't think there's a lot of things to overthink. I think we figured out some things last year, especially in the playoffs, and we still have a lot of things to figure out, but those things gonna take care of themselves. Hopefully we can stay healthy, and every day is gonna be a cool opportunity to win and also to get better together.
Rudy, Larry Fitzgerald, National Programming Network. You said at the end of last season, with the back injury and other things you were dealing with, you wouldn't play in the World Cup. When did you change your mind and decide to
Did
go
I say
do
that?
it? Yeah.
I'm not sure I said that. I don't know. I said I was going to think about it, which I did. I was in the dark for 3 days thinking about it. But I did, I did think about it, and I did, evaluated all both options, going or not going, and and at the end of the day, I was able to have an amazing month of June. Where I've worked really, really hard. And at the end of June, I was feeling amazing. I was feeling the best I've ever felt. 100% healthy, and and I really thought that it was going to be a good opportunity for me to keep getting better and be there for with my teammates, and so I went. And today I'm really happy that I did. I think the main key for me was just make sure that whatever I decide, I don't have any regrets, and make sure that I'm feeling good physically and mentally, and that was the case. So so I made that decision.
Brett Robson with Minpost. You won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards playing drop coverage defense. You experimented a little bit with being up some last year. The coach and the organization seems to think that they probably want to get more diversified. You'll be maybe doing some zone, some switching, and playing some up. How is that adjustment for you, and how do you feel about that given, your teammates and what you used to do?
I think I've been able to do all kind of coverages. I'm able to do all kind of coverages. I think the most important thing is for us to, kind of really build our identity, understand each other's strength, and be able to magnify that and be able to minimize the opposite team's strength. I mean, that's how you become a really great defensive team. And I think me being up doesn't take away the drop. I think I can be up at the point of the screen and absorb. It's not easy to do, but that's why there's only one Rudy in the world. but yeah, I'm gonna keep. I'm getting more comfortable switching too. Over the last few years, even in Utah, we were switching more. That's not the primary defense that we want to do, but this is definitely something that we do when needed. And we're able to adjust. So tomorrow we're gonna get to sit down with the coach and see all the things that we want to do defensively. But I really think that sometimes you don't want to diversify just to diversify. You want to do what you're great at, and you want to be able to adjust when needed. But I think first you need to build that foundation and go from there.
The addition of Mike Conley was easy to see how it would help you on pick and roll and offensively. But how much did his presence help you defensively, just in terms of a trust level and knowing where he would be out on the perimeter and that kind of stuff?
I mean, tremendously, and Mike played with me for a couple of years now, so he understands what I can do defensively, and I can understand sometimes it can be confusing, when you expect the guy to be super aggressive on the screen and take away the pull-up too. But that's something that we figured out, and for me, all I need is somebody that competes. That's what I always say. When the pick and roll, when the screen comes, I just need the guy to get physical and make the guard uncomfortable, and then I'm gonna do the rest. And I really enjoyed, once again. Early in the season, it was kind of uncomfortable for everybody, for myself too, and as we got to understand each other, over the year, I really liked the way we were in the playoffs once again, and in the play-in. I thought we were already a much better team, and I thought I was better too. And it's a big part of that is me being better too and doing what I can do best. And I think in the first few months of the season, I wasn't that. But at the end of the season, I thought we were already on the right path, and that's why I'm really excited about this year, being able to, keep coming along from the way we ended and build from that with a new season and have the whole training camp and preseason to, work on all those habits.
Kyle Tigges. Oh, you got it, Dane.
Dane Moore, Rudy, we saw you working on the 3 this summer. What went into, what were things you were trying to add in the summer offensively? What did that work look like specifically?
So mainly the three is kind of like the icing on the cake, I say. Obviously the free throws, the hook shot, the touch around the rim, keep being able to finish through contact at a higher level. Last year I had the most N1s I've ever had in my career, so it was the work I think paying off, and I think I can still get to another level of being able to finish through contact, being able to finish in the mid-range area, whether it's the floater or the mid-range shot, and then my passing, I think it comes along with that too, and the three is just icing on the cake. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
John Krasinski with The Athletic. And from last year, what is the biggest thing that you thought you learned how to do well with Rudy, and what are you concentrating on to improve and you think can get better this season in year two together?
Just playing with him in the pocket. I think that was the main thing, and he gained my trust after a couple times. He was like, just trust me, and I start hitting him, and he start making the right play. So now it's just I got to get the connection with pick and roll, throwing the lob to him, and I think after that we're just going to take off.
Jamal Collier from ESPN. Just your experience this summer playing for Team USA. What do you think? What you like about it the most, and kind of how do you think that will benefit you sort of going forward this year?
I like just being able to compete throughout the summer and not have to play to get in shape, just be in shape coming into the year. And I think the best thing that I learned is just offensively just playing with pace. I think the defense gets lost, man, like just playing fast. And I think that's what happened with us with Germany. They just played fast every play and pressuring the ball full court. So I think that's the main thing, just playing with intensity.
You made the trade last year to get Rudy, and then Carl gets hurt right away. Did that kind of just feel like you haven't got a chance to see this team really click all together? You feel like that was almost a lost year, and you're excited about what y'all can do on the floor together with a full healthy season?
Yeah, for sure. I think it got cut short when Cat got hurt, and I think they seen like a little glimpse of it when we would be playing good with Cat when Cat got back, but it was just hard for him to find his rhythm. And I think this year he's gonna be a monster for sure.
And you had the contract extension, Team USA, your own shoe now, the mural. What would you really say is the highlight of your off season?
The highlight of my off season probably was the mural. Yeah, I think that was more important than everything for sure.
And what's good, man? Max Fuller here from KFAN. You just mentioned pretty much the only person that had a bigger summer than you is Taylor Swift. I mean, everybody fell in love with you. It seems like you're getting a lot of accolades, and there's a lot of pressure. I mean, Steve Kerr had high praise for you. Kevin Garnett said this could be an MVP season for you. Do you feel any extra weight on your shoulders coming into this season?
Nah, not at all. I got Big Cat. Big Cat superstar, man. He be one of the best players in the league this year. So, I mean, he's going to take a lot of pressure off me. So, yeah, I'm putting a lot of pressure on him.
Joe Schmidt, Channel 5. To kind of follow up on that a little bit, everybody talks about you taking the next step this year, becoming that superstar. What does that look like to you?
I mean, like I said, I'm going to need my teammates to do it. I can't do it. I can't do anything without my teammates. So, as long as we go out there as a group of five, whoever on the court, and we come together and we win, I think, and if I do what I do individually, I think whatever the next step people expecting me to take, I will take, but it has to be within my teammates.
Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. Ant, you said after the season that kind of late in the year, and especially in that playoff series against Denver, that you kind of figured out how to play with Carl and Rudy and kind of what that meant for you in terms of being able to drive and things like that. What kind of unlocked in your head, do you think, and how did you maybe try to maximize that over this summer?
Man, Cat just shoot the piss out the ball, and it's incredible to see. It's incredible to play with somebody like him, and coming off screens and he's popping every time is great, and Rudy rolling. So I think it's gonna be dynamic this year, even with Mike Conley. Not even me, because I'm more of the guy who's looking for his own shot. But like Mike Conley, it's gonna be great for him for sure.
Finch was kind of talking about how trying to get you and Carl back to some of that chemistry that you guys had maybe 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
What does that look like when you guys are really working well together?
Oh, we're going to see it this year, man. Like I said, Cat, he's super healthy. He's feeling good. I'm feeling good. So, yeah, I think it should be fun. As long as we stay healthy, I think it should be super fun to see how, we start to gel together, try to get back to where we was probably 2 years ago for sure.
Hey, Ant, it's Phil Mackey from Score North in the back row here. So Eric Spoelstra and Steve Kerr both had glowing things to say about you this summer. What's 1 or 2 things you learned from either one of them?
So, I'm going to start with Coach Spoelstra. He's I get how he gets his team to play hard every night. He comes in when it's his night to do scout on the USA team, he comes in with a lot of energy. He's getting straight to the point. And he's just a great coach, man. Has great plays. And Coach Kerr, man, he just, he's won at the highest level. He's played, he's coached, and he knows the ins and outs of the game. And he's played with MJ. He coached Steph Curry. So he was the first coach to tell me I wasn't working hard enough in pre-draft. So, big shouts out to him for sure. Yeah, he was, for sure.
And Pete Rose from BMA Networks. How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
You had a fantastic offseason playing for U.S. Did some big things with youth in the community. What's in it for you this year? What's your mental attitude for, not only being on the court, but being in this community now that we've been seeing you now for a while?
Like I said, I just want to win, man. I want all my teammates to be the best at whatever they want to do. Like, I want Jaden and Rudy need to be competing for Defensive Player of the Year. Me and Cat need to be competing for who's going to be the best player in the league. Like, just little things like that, like competition within ourselves and just everybody playing hard and wanting to see each other succeed. I think that's the main thing this year that we're trying to get to.
So where that's going to get the team this year?
Huh?
Where will they get the team this year? Where we're going?
I think we're going to go as far as Cat, Rudy, and Jaden take us, for sure.
Kyle, tell you, Score North. You and Jaden entered the league together a couple of years ago. You signed an extension. Naz signs an extension this summer. But Jaden is kind of eligible. How important is it for you for Jaden to be here long term with you and Naz and the rest of the guys?
Oh, Jaden is the most important person on the team, for sure, because he has the most potential. I think the world knows we wouldn't be Minnesota Timberwolves without Jaden McDaniels. So, I'm looking forward to him having a phenomenal season.
And Finchy was saying how the identity of the team starts with defense this year. Why is that the right place to start building this group out this year?
I mean, because we big, man. We got Jaden 6'10", Cat 7 feet, Rudy 7 feet. So the paint, it should be hard to get to the rim and get a shot in. So you're going to have to shoot the ball really, really good from the three-point line, I feel like. And I take pride in myself guarding my man. Jaden does also. Rudy don't want to get scored on. So I think our starting 5 should be, defensively, we should be really good.
Sure. So you said pre-draft process with that. And then 2020 that Kirk called you out and said you weren't working hard enough. How much has your work ethic changed?
Oh my God. It was crazy because like before he came, I thought I was like working hard. And like when he came, I was going through the drills and he kept stopping them like, that's all you got, that's all you got. And I'm like, bro, I'm going hard as you want me to go. Like, what you want me to do? I'm sweating crazy. He like, man, you got to see Steph and KD and Clay work out. And we went to dinner that night, and they still was continuously telling me like you didn't work hard enough. Like if we had the number 1 pick, we wouldn't take you. And I was just like, damn, that's crazy. So me and my trainer ran home after dinner, and we just talking like, bro, we got to pick it up. I don't know how. I don't know what we got to do, like, but we got to pick it up. And I think after that, man, it's just I became a madman in the gym, and like I try to work till I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Oh yeah, for sure. He knows. Yeah, he's gonna see this and laugh because he already knows. Him, Bob Myers, and it was another guy with him. Yeah, but they all kind of played a huge role in where I am today because they pitched that to me early. Yep.
Dive across the table. Yeah, right.
John Krasinski with The Athletic. Mike, just in that short time that you had coming over after the draft and then after the trade and then looking back on what you experienced with the team, what really kind of stood out to you as you went into the summer, good and bad, on what you think this team needs to do to take that next step?
Honestly, I left the last playoff game, wondering honestly like how good we could have been, given the fact that we were down a few guys most of that time I was here. If it wasn't Cat, it was Jaden, it was Naz, it was just different guys kind of in and out. Ant missed a few games there. But finding a rhythm and finding that cohesiveness that I was kind of hoping to get right away, we never got that chance to build that. And so going in the summer, it was like, man, those same guys we have, like we had a chance to make a run. We had a chance to, really put people, their attention on the Minnesota Timberwolves and what we're capable of doing. So just a lot of more so excitement leading into this season. Because we've got those same guys back. We've added a few guys, and so far everybody's healthy. So just trying to keep that and see what we can do.
Rudy was saying that kind of he felt as the year came to a close that the team was figuring out how to play together a little bit more, knowing him like you do. Do you think year two for him, just being in the same spot, is going to make a big difference for him as he kind of tries to get back to the player that he has been?
I think so. I think the year for him was a kind of up and down as far as just trying to understand who he is for this team and what we ask of him, and what the players around him, and playing with a different unit, different players. Like, you have to adjust to the team that you're on, and I've been on a lot of different teams, and just the personnel
plays a big role in who you might be that year. So for him, I think he was finally kind of finding his role, finding his niche, and what we need from him, and what Finchy needs from him, what Ant, what Cat, like, you know, who's going to be on the court the most together, like. All those really dictate on, you know, who he can be and his max potential. So I think he's feeling good and comfortable about it. We're feeling good about it as a team, so we're looking forward to seeing what he does this year.
Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. Mike, kind of along the lines of what you were saying before, at this point in your career, how much do you value wanting to win a title? And does that figure into maybe where you might be playing in future years here? And do you see that kind of potential here in Minnesota?
Oh, yeah. Obviously, the title is like my number one thing at this point in my career. I've done a lot of things, but like that's one thing that I've never been in even an opportunity to play for a championship necessarily. So, you know, whether that's here, which I think that, like I said, last year our team, if we were healthy, we were a team that I think could have been the Denver Nuggets of last year, where nobody was really like thinking about us as a real threat. But after we left the series, you would have been like, man, that team had a chance. So given the personnel we have here, like I'm excited to reach a goal like that, or have an opportunity to reach a goal like that with the guys we have here. That's the goal for our team. That's the goal for the management, coaches. Like nobody's out here trying to just play and make money. It's like we're trying to win a championship. So I'm where I'm supposed to be.
And what did you maybe learn late in the season in that playoff series about helping, just facilitating Ant, Carl, and Rudy, and getting them to play with better chemistry that you were able to help out with?
Well, I think a lot of it is just trying, because each individual guy is so talented at what they do. It's about trying to get that out of them all together at the same time. That's when you become that, you know, much better cohesive elite team. And for me, it was just trying to be that bridge as best I can. Like take moments where I'm like, Ant, just give me the ball for the next couple of plays. I'm gonna try to get Rudy involved. I'm gonna try to get Cat involved in a different way. I promise you I'll get back to you. Same thing with Cat. Like Cat, you posted up a few times. Like I'm gonna try to get this ball over to Ant, kind of get him rolling, and even Jaden and other guys. You know, we were playing early in the year, just about trying to develop that trust, develop that, you know, confidence with each other, and then hopefully I continue to be that guy that they can lean on. When I say give me the ball, like know that I have a good intention to try to get this thing rolling in the right way.
Mike, Jamal Collier from ESPN. I'm going to ask you about Ant, and I think there's obviously just like a lot of excitement about him coming off the summer, playing for Team USA, and about what his ceiling and what he could do this year. How do you, just from your experience from seeing in the league, how do you see players take that leap from going from all-star good player necessarily to face of a franchise, face of a league, even kind of tight? What do you think goes into that, maybe just beyond obviously winning games?
I think there's a different mentality for those guys. I kind of saw it with Donovan there the first few years I was with him. You have the talent, you have the ability, you show it every day, you score, you play hard, you win games, but at some point you come back and you're watching more film than you're actually working on certain moves. You're telling the coaches what the play is about to be for the other team, how they're about to defend you. You're coming up to me telling me what actions are going to work tonight. That's what LeBron does. That's what KD, all the great Steph, they all know all that stuff. So they come in and they have a game plan for each individual night. And I think that's where he's headed, you know, where he's getting to that level of that IQ where he's like, I know what to expect tonight. I know I'm gonna get double teamed. I gotta trust my teammates. Like that's the level you gotta get to.
Mike Chase, Frederick, Pioneer Press. Was it reinvigorating to be leaned upon as heavily as you were when you got here last season?
Oh, I loved it, honestly. I did. Kind of felt like I was, you know, my role changed from when I was with the Jazz to here in Utah. I was, you know, a lot more facilitator, spot up mostly. And I got here and Finchy's like, I need you to score. I need you to dribble, ISO, like pass, like make plays, create. I was like, well, all right, like I can do it. I've been waiting to, kind of do it for a while. So it was good to have that kind of confidence from Finch and the coaching staff. They believe in me to be that kind of guy, and it was good to just see myself doing it again and know that I'm more than still the same guy that I was years ago, being able to do it.
Mike, building off that, how would you describe like the point guard role here with this team? Because it seems like you got a lot of different guys who are going to initiate actions and stuff, kind of compared to maybe other spots where you were just that traditional point guard of the offense. How is that different?
You just have to end up becoming more of a basketball player as opposed to a positional player. Yes, I'm a point guard, but I'm a great spot-up shooter. I can space the floor. I can play off the dribble. And everybody else around us kind of has that same skill set. We have a lot of guys who can play multiple positions, so I don't want to be kind of isolating on one aspect of a game as far as what my game can bring to a game and anybody else's game as well. So I just try to flow with the 5-man personnel we got out there, and whoever brings it up, and we work around it.
Brett Robson with Men Post. Given that there's no heir apparent really at point guard after you, and the fact that Tim Conley just said he would love to see you kind of end your career here, as you move forward, how do you extend your career beyond just conditioning, the way you play on the court? What tricks have you picked up, or just in whether it's attitude or little cheating things that you're able to do? How do you extend your career?
I can't tell you everything, but a lot of it for me at this point is you try not to take many hits. Like if you're playing defense, I try not to get screened. That's number one. If I get hit, the more hits you take over time, eventually something's gonna happen. So, being a smarter player, when I was younger, I ran around a lot. I jumped around a lot. I just got in the air for no reason. I might be running real fast in a game, but in my mind, I'm calculating steps, where I'm gonna stop at next, because I'm not trying to get lost and step on somebody's foot. So just being real, intentional on what you do outside of the work that you prepare yourself with in the off season every day, and things you have to accomplish on a daily just to get up and perform. Diet, all that stuff is super important. So I'm just trying to stay on it as best I can and for as long as I can.
Larry Fitzgerald, National Programming Network. How important is the relationship between you and the head coach, and keeping that in mind, dealing with play after play after play and getting away from fast breaks?
Yeah. I think the relationship between a point guard and a coach it's got to be one of the most important on the team. You have to be the extension of the coach on the court. I've been on teams where we look to the sideline for every play, and you'll be running down the opposite end. You're trying to look back at coach to see what to get in. When you have a good floor general or somebody else on that court, you don't need that. Everybody look at me, make eye contact with me. Me and Finchy can talk afterwards. If I make a mistake, he'll come to me and say, let's not do that again. I'm, all right, cool. But for the time being, while I'm on the court, listen to me. I got you. I know the plays. I know what we need to be in. And that, builds that trust. It builds that respect on both ends. And I think it makes everything kind of run smoother. All right. Thank you.
John Krasinski with The Athletic. Jaden, just going into year 4 now, what's just the overall mindset that you have after and coming off of the progress that you made last season?
Say my overall mindset just to start off where I left off at and just continue to be aggressive defensively and keep that defensive presence out there, and then offensively just continue to be confident in my game, putting the ball on the ground, getting to my spots, and just being a good all-around player.
This is the first time you've been through a contract negotiation. What's that process been like for you, and do you feel optimistic about getting a deal done? Where do you think things stand that way?
Really, I just been really just focused on basketball and working out. I mean, I know the contract thing is there, but I just try to let my agents handle it and just continue to get better as a player. I mean, the better I get,
Jaden, you spent so much of your time the past few years on ball defensively. When you were hurt last year, Nikhil took a lot of that on there too. What do you envision, when both of you are on the floor and you can be off ball sometimes? What can you do in that role as well that we haven't seen as much of?
I feel like off ball, I feel like I can protect the rim very well, and then just being able to guard off ball actions, if that's chasing people off the screens or chasing shooters. I feel like that's one thing, and then also just communicating, just being able to see the floor, helping my teammates and tell them things that they can't see while they're playing on ball.
Larry Fitzgerald, National Programming Network. What have you specifically worked on to improve on what you believe you need to?
I would say improving on my ball handling and just playing with the ball in my hands. I would say just finding different ways to score and create my own shot and just getting to my own spot. I mean, I'm so tall, and I feel like a lot of the shots I can get to, they won't be contested that much. So just really just getting to my spots, pulling up, continuing to shoot the 3 balls, catch and shoot, and then that's pretty much it.
Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. Naz re-signed this summer. How much were you in his ear about coming back here, and how happy were you when he finally did?
I wasn't really in his ear that much. I kind of just told him, I'm going to be happy for you wherever you do, whatever decision you make. Is just, I'm happy he's back. I I congratulate him when he got his contract. It's good to see he's worked for it, so I'm just happy he's still here.
And what did you maybe learn in the short time late in the season when Carl was back, Rudy, and you guys were all playing together for really the first time almost all season? What did you learn about how you fit in, especially on the offensive end of the floor with those guys?
I learned that I could fit in pretty well, just finding different ways in the offense, different parts in the offense where I could impact scoring or even assist and being a playmaker. So just continue to play when Cat has the ball in the post, just playing off cuts or even playing the pick and roll with Rudy a little bit, throwing lobs, stuff like that, just make the game fun for myself.
Hey, what's up, Jaden? Max Fuller here from KFAN. The news broke about a month or so ago that you grew a couple of inches over the summer. I'm just curious, did you still have the fro? Because I'd be lying and pretending like I'm taller than I am, and I'm 6'5" with the fro. Did you still have the fro when they?
Yeah, I had the fro for sure. I'm probably like 6'10" and a half. Hey, it's 11 almost.
Maturity's been a theme kind of throughout the different press conferences today. What aspects in terms of maturity do you think this team has room to grow?
I'll say maturity-wise, I'll probably put it with kind of preparation for games. I would say just being locked in, knowing the personnel of the players that we're going against, and just because one thing a personnel can probably mess up the game just if he's a sharpshooter, so we just flush him off the line. If you don't flush him off the line, hits the 3, the game could be over type thing. So just preparation.
Brett Robson with Mid-Post. I think everybody knows that you're a quality defensive player, but I think your role on the offense last year kind of went under the radar. You only increased your usage by 1%, but you maximized a lot of what you were doing in the context of your teammates. But given all the high usage guys you're playing with, are you going to be able to continue that, or is it this pretty much where you'll be is kind of like a 4th or 5th option in the half court with the guys you play with, and are you okay with that?
I feel like I can continue it and continue to get better and go higher and just really continue to make my production more. I feel like I could be like a 1 or 2 guy in the NBA on the NBA team. So me having that confidence, I feel like, I could go out and score 25 points every night if I wanted to.
Jaden, what did you learn the most about playing with Rudy from the start of last season to the end, and how do you think you can build on that, especially maybe on the defensive end too? You guys are two great defenders working together.
I'll say, like, first it kind of took time just to get used to just having Rudy there so big, like knowing that if you get beat or something wrong happens, that he's going to be there to protect you. So just getting that trust was one thing. So now that, like, I know that he's back there, I feel like I could play more freely, but then also just continuing to be on the string defensively, continuing to communicate. I feel like that was one thing that we struggled with at the beginning, was communication and, like, pick and rolls and stuff. But towards the end, I feel like we got great at being in the high drop and then being in the regular drop. So I feel like just building off that.
And Ant just got done saying that you're the most important player on the Timberwolves because you have the most potential. Did you hire him as your agent in the offseason, or is he?
I wish he could be my agent.
But how is that just the relationship that you two have and building on that as two young focal points?
We got a good relationship. I mean, we both want to see each other succeed, and, like, we both love each other's game. I mean, Ant could do anything that he wants on the court at any time. So, like, that's something I want to get to and just be able to, like, to be Ant and Jaden team. So just continuing to work and continuing to get better with both of us.
Jaden, I saw a couple different players on podcasts and stuff this summer compare your game and progression to Mikal Bridges. Do you see that comparison in your game? Have you watched some of him?
Yeah, I could see the comparison. I mean, I'm my own player. I always say that. So just continuing, like, I've watched this film. I've seen how, like, the transformation from Phoenix to Brooklyn, how he did. Like, he's a great player. I could see myself doing that as well. I mean, just continuing to work on my game and getting better is the only way I could get there. Sir, thank y'all.
Now it's John Krasinski from The Athletic. Just in terms of coming off of the summer that you had, getting the contract done, being kind of knowing exactly how things are playing out, what's the mindset going into year 4, into this year now, and just knowing that you have all of that behind you?
Going into year 5, the mentality is just win, win, win. Like, I got all that out the way. I feel like we're in a better space now. We get a fresh start, a new year. I think everybody's positive. I think the maturity is at a different level than it was last year. I feel like we're all in.
Coach has said you're going to play, obviously, a lot of 4 with just you, Rudy, and Kat together. How much of your off-season workouts and stuff are tailored to that, and what kind of differences do you see playing that position versus the 5?
I mean, my workouts pretty much stay the same. I've been working on all facets of my game. For the previous years, I mean, it's always been the same. I think just the level of comfort has gotten better. And then, I think just going out there, putting my best effort forward like I normally do, I think everything will speak for itself.
Chris Finch from the Star Tribune. Now, you mentioned the maturity is at maybe another level this year. How is it different maybe than previous years, and what does being a more mature team look like to you?
I think just the way we handle things. We're able to speak to each other with a matter of respect, and even if it isn't with the matter of how you like, we understand the message and not how it's being displayed. I think that was a big thing for us last year. And then this the way we handle ourselves on and off the court, definitely on the court. We're going out there to win games. Fans pay to see that. And the game of basketball has to mean a lot to us, definitely in our profession. And we like I said before, we're here to win. So we're not just here to go out there and lollygag.
Oftentimes in the NBA, sometimes when you have young teams, young guys, they're looking out for their minutes, their stats, and sometimes that can come at the cost of winning. Do you sense with maybe yourself, some of the younger guys on the team, that you're past that maybe stage of your careers, and now you really want to focus on whatever it takes to win?
Yep, 100%. I mean, I can speak for that for myself as well, where last year I'll be upset or the year before I'll be upset, and it wasn't really just a matter of minutes and things of that situation. I'm just a person who wants to compete and wants to win. So,
Naz, Finch and Conley were talking about you as a 4 and fitting into this group next to Carl, next to Rudy. What do you need to do to really make that work, and how much of that is about defense, and what does that look like?
Like I said before, I think it's more just a level of comfort in playing in those positions because I can. Like I said with the workouts before, I've always worked on all facets of my game, whether it was offense, playing at the 4, playing at the 5, or whatever situation was presented to me. And then defense, like I said before with that as well, level of comfort, getting to guard guys like Kevin Durant or a stretch 4, someone like that. Just being able to comfortably do that, and that's something that I haven't done in the past few years. And I've done it sporadically, but not consistently.
Kind of piggyback off on that. You're at the 4 this year, and you, previous seasons you didn't play very often with Rudy or very often with Cat, and now I think the overwhelming majority of your minutes will be alongside one or the other. What kind of role and adjustment, what's the difference between playing beside Rudy and playing beside Cat as a 4?
I think something that's very unique about my game is I can play beside either one, if not at the same time. So just being able to play and piggyback off of how they're playing, with Cat being able to play all over the floor, just doing the opposite, and then with Rudy, playing a little bit or I'm outside of the paint, outside of his area, and then sometimes I might get into his area where I might beat him down the court. With my ability to play all over the floor as well, I can space the floor and things of that nature.
No, it's Jace Frederick with the Pioneer Press. Coach Finch has talked about maybe needing no more play calls, more structure this year. You were somebody who actually seemed to understand and thrive kind of playing in a random free-flowing offense. Mm-hmm. What was it about your game that fits so well into that, and what do you maybe lose if you go away from it?
I don't really think I lose anything because I'm always a guy who understands how the ball was supposed to move, movement. I might miss a screen to do a DHO with someone else. Like just being able to have the ball touch both sides of the floor, touch the paint, getting spread it out to the 3-point line. Just I understand how to play the game of basketball, so I don't think that will really affect my game, but I think it would help us as a team because now we're understanding what this guy has to do, what's his role, what's my role, and things of that nature.
I mean, as like a team perspective, do you lose anything in that maybe that randomness can be more difficult to diagnose as a defense?
Yeah, for sure, but I think for us, I think it's something that we haven't even played game 1 yet, so I think as the season will go on, we'll all get comfortable with it as well. So.
Since you arrived in the league a couple of years ago, you've quickly become a fan favorite. You see people wearing Naz Reid shirts all over the place. Are you aware of how much this fan base really loves having you on the team, and how much does that mean to you just kind of have the city behind you and have your back?
I mean, it means a lot. I notice it. I appreciate everybody who supports me and the team as well. I mean, it's been crazy, like speechless about it. And then again, that's another reason why I signed, just the love that I was getting here, and again, I felt home away from home. I've been here for 5 years, so I'm excited to go into the season with the same people that I've came in with, or same fans that I've came in with.
Now, you guys have a lot of this familiar faces from last year, but a new guy, Shake Milton, is here, and he's going to probably be a part of that second unit as well. What have you gotten to know him just a little bit, and what do you think he's going to bring to the table for you guys, and maybe even thinking about playing with him in some lineups?
I've practiced with him a little bit. Try to get that chemistry going a little early. He's definitely a unique player. His size, he can defend, he can play the point guard position. I mean, he's definitely a unique player that I would love to play against or play with throughout the season in the second unit. And I'm looking forward to it.
Any more questions?
Appreciate it.
What's up, guys? You guys hear me? Or if I, okay.
John Krasinski with The Athletic. Kyle, just what was the experience in the World Cup like playing for China and just, connecting that way?
Yeah, that was awesome. Like I said, like I love winning, and we didn't do much winning out there, but just like shout out to the staff, the coaches, the players. Like they made me feel so welcome, and the fans were awesome, and just being a part of it was like really special. They didn't. You go to a new team and they kind of look at you funny, or but they didn't have any of that. Like they were super welcoming. They were such great people over there. So it was very fun to be around. So, you know, I really meant a lot to me. I thank them from the bottom of my heart for that. And then just being there around, you know, those great teams like Italy, like Dominican Republic, like Serbia, you know, watching all those great guys play together. And, you know, those teams, like, they play together since they're 15, 16 years old. So it's special to watch them still have that chemistry and things like that. And some teams did some really special things, like, you know, watching South Sudan be able to make it to the Olympics. That was awesome. So it was just a really cool experience. Minus the losing, like, I had a great time over there.
I think right when the playoffs ended, there was a lot of people that were concerned about you, your injury, your eye, and everything. Whether you know what was going to look like coming back. How do you feel physically that way, and how is everything just on that front as you get ready for the season?
Yeah, I feel fine. I feel back to normal. You know, it's something that I'm just adapting more and more with every day. I'm getting better with it. It was obviously rough, maybe saying like early July and late June, like I'm playing SMIC pickup in these small New Jersey gyms, and it's dark and I can't see a thing, but it's gotten a lot better now, and I'm sure in a, you know, NBA arena with great lighting, it should be fine.
Mark, Kyle, I know you refer to yourself as a big point guard, but there's been different times in your career where you've been on the starting line, like the 4 or the 3, right? You're playing it with 1 big versus 2 bigs. It seems like this year you will play next to 2 bigs, whereas last year it was 1 big. What, if anything, does that change for you, and how does it impact the 5 overall if you're functionally the 3 versus the 4?
Yeah, I think maybe just a little bit more of a role of handling the ball when there is 2 bigs in there. But I don't think it changes much. I think I'm a guy who can play in any offense in the league and you know, play in any type of style. So I don't think it really changes much being a 3 or 4 or the 1, whatever it is. Like, just go out there, try to make plays, you know, shoot it when I'm open, you know, play the game the right way. So, you know, I think playing with 2 bigs will be a bit of an adjustment. And, you know, I'm going to have to find ways to be effective, and I know I will. But, you know, like I said, it'll take some time, but I'll figure it out.
You kind of did that in Memphis, right? Like there were some years where it was 2 bigs versus 1 big.
Yeah.
Does that experience help?
Yeah, definitely. And in San Antonio as well. Like, I was watching old San Antonio highlights the other day, and I was out there with, you know, LaMarcus and Timmy, or like, you know, David West and David Lee, or so, you know, it's something that I can get adjusted to.
Chris, I'm from the Star Tribune. Kyle,
I know all you guys.
They told us to do it. You know, one of the things that we've heard Tim, Finch, and on down the roster is more mature team this season. And from your first year here to this year, what are some of the things that you think this team needs to shore up to become a more mature team? And do you sense that maybe it's a little different this year coming in than maybe last year?
Yeah, I think just looking in the mirror first and foremost, just, you know, kind of just the fact that I got into it with one of my teammates last year is just, that just didn't sit well with me this summer. And, you know, getting 5 technicals last year was just, looking back at it, that's just not who I am. So maybe I could look at it as a rough year, but just looking forward to this year, being a better teammate, not costing my team points with technicals, things like that. That stuff shouldn't happen. And I think as a team, I think we should do a better job of preparing for games and giving ourselves a chance to win, knowing scouting report, knowing guys' tendencies, knowing personnel on the other team. I think you gotta, in order to be good in this league, you have to give yourself a chance to win by preparing. And I think maybe we could do a better job as a team of that. But I'm really just looking in the mirror this summer and just focusing on how I could be a better teammate, be a better person on the court, and, you know, stay positive, not get down on myself, things like that.
In the immediate aftermath of your injury, were there some scary moments for you in terms of the recovery from it, or kind of what was that process like, maybe the first few weeks?
I had to be, you know, strong for my family, really. I think everybody in my family was kind of spooked, and I didn't want to show them that I was spooked, but it was definitely tough. Like, you know, I was kind of hearing that, like, you know, I don't know if I'd be able to play again and things like that. And once I went out to UCLA and seen Dr. Steven Schwartz, and the first thing he told me is, like, you'll be fine, you'll be able to play again. And shout out to him. He brought me a lot of comfort, and from then on, I knew I'd be okay. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared or nervous. 4, 5, 6 days after the injury.
Kyle, I will introduce myself. I'm Phil Mackey from Score North. I feel like everyone kind of digested the playoffs once Denver won the championship and kind of looked back at the 2 months and said, Timberwolves might have given them their best series of all the opponents. Now that you've had some time to reflect on it and get away from the disappointment, how close do you think you guys are when you're playing the way that you played at the end of that Denver series? How could you be a team that makes a surprise run? I say surprise according to the national perception.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if you look at a lot of our losses last year, they were, and no offense to these teams, they're great teams and they're building, but 2 to Charlotte, 2 to Detroit, 2 to Washington, those are all winnable games. If we win half of those games, maybe we're a 5, 6 seed, 4 seed maybe. So I think we had a chance to do something very special last year. So to be able to get our guys, a lot of our guys back for this year, we're in a position to do some very special things. And we don't do moral victories, but we did put up a good fight against Denver, and we're just taking all of this into the next season, and it's going to fuel us to be what we are this season.
Kyle, what did you learn last season about playing with Ant, and what's maybe the next step for him in your eyes?
I played against him in a playoff series the season before, so I knew he was a killer. I knew he was really talented, and I think his next step is just being an all-star starter, MVP type of player. He has the talent. He puts in the work. He's right there. So I think that's coming within the next year or two, or whenever it does, I won't be surprised.
Speaking of Ant, how did you feel when he said he wanted number 5 this summer and we're number 1 today?
That crushed me. No, I have no problem giving it to Ant or any of my teammates. Honestly, I mean it's just a number, but it's the number that I would have wanted and I've wore since I was a kid. But he deserves it, and he always said that he was getting it, and they let me know from day one that he's getting it when his time comes. So I'm fine with it. But I missed that number 5 though, huh? I'm still working that out.
I guess Britt Robson, Min Post. Last year, the record was a little disappointing and the expectations were higher. But personally, in terms of your role and development and relationship with the coach and everything, things couldn't have broken better in many respects. You want to be a point guard, and Finchy had an enormous amount of confidence, and you said many times you saved the season. Now you got Kat coming back healthy. You've got Mike in from day one. Are you kind of mentally getting ready for the idea that you're not going to have the leeway that you had just in terms of the opportunities to do what you love to do?
I know that's on the table, but I'm mentally getting ready for anything. I mean, I don't want anyone to get injured, knock on wood, but that's part of what happens in a long 82-game season. So it could come a point where I'm back to that position and back to that role, which I obviously enjoy, having the ball in my hands a little bit more. But shout out to Coach Finchy, for him to trust me with the ball in my hands and to make decisions. I get asked a lot if I miss playing in Memphis, and obviously I miss my guys over there, but to come to play for Minnesota and play for Finchy, who trusts me making decisions and allows me to, play my game and things like that, that's very special. So, I enjoy it, and I'm getting mentally ready for whatever, whether it's, bench minutes or, if I have to step back into the starting lineup, whatever it is, I'm ready to do.
Just with the point guard position, I think some people just look at the depth chart and go, this team doesn't have a lot of pure point guards on the team. But in other ways, it seems like you guys got a ton of guys.
Yeah.
Initiate offense. How do you see that kind of playing out over the course of the year with different people initiating offense?
Yeah, I think, like I just said with Allen, I think Finchy lays out an offense for us that's very interchangeable. And if was to bring, I think, Ant, Jaden, Mike, myself, Jordan, Nikhil, Naz, Kat, the list goes on of who can start the offense. Some guys off the rebound, some guys off the outlet pass. So, I don't think we're really worried about that. If you look around the league, like, these guys are really good, but they're not really, like, pure point guards. There are not that many pure point guards that are in the league. They're in basketball. You watch college, too. So I think the game's kind of going away from that, and I think any one of us can start the offense and bring the ball over court and facilitate things and things like that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
John Krasinski with the Athletic. It's a long day already. Nikhil, you're coming off of the World Cup. Just in terms of what that experience did for you and how you plan to use it going into this season, can you kind of just sum up for us, like, how it changes things or how it sets a tone for you?
For me, just with a lot of how I think the last 2 seasons in particular have went for me, being traded, finding a new role and adjusting to it. Being able to play for the national team gave me a chance to build a rhythm for myself. I think the role that I had for Team Canada would be very similar to what I would be doing here, and that allowed me to build confidence to feel like I can excel here, continuing from what I did in the playoffs, and then allowing that to propel me into this season and just continuously working, watching film, but building the game reps to have that confidence and the muscle memory and all the work that I did this summer to put into that.
You've played for Coach Finch before, but with him as a head coach, just what do you think works about your skill set with what he asks you to do, what he empowers you to do?
I think it goes hand in hand now. And I spoke about it before, my rookie year, just being so naive. And now coming into year 5, understanding Finch a lot more, myself a lot more in my game, just kind of being able to make plays, get downhill, guard, and then just make the right pass. Not so much trying to score or be eager for stats like the young player with something to prove. More so just someone who's finding his footing and carving a role, and then with that small role, making a bigger one, and then a bigger one, and then just taking it one stride at a time, one day at a time, one game at a time.
Yeah, last year, but towards the end of the year, you referenced how kind of happy you were to be here. The opportunity you got, and extending into the summer, you get the contract, and you're here for the next 2 years. Did that change how you approach the summer, knowing that you have some security here, you have a role here, you have kind of a comfort level? Was that maybe a little different summer for you overall as a result?
One of the weird things to that point, going into the summer, I was a lot more calm than I thought I would have been. I wasn't as nervous. Partially because I felt like I did a good job in that playoff series. Also because I learned to let go of worrying about outcomes and what I can't control. And I think that I felt like myself and the organization had a good sense of rapport within each other. And I knew what was best for me, and coming back was the right thing, giving myself a chance. And as to your question, just the work part, I think for me it's about being the best player I can be. And ultimately, if I'm being the best player I can be, then I can help these guys. And that's the main thing. Keeping the main thing, and carving out a niche, a role, a home for myself, and just building and growing, and never really like ceasing to settle with, okay, I play good, because I've seen it go a lot of times.
We had Jaden in here a little while ago, and he mentioned just kind of how it was an adjustment for him, being the main perimeter defender when you have Rudy kind of as the backstop, and obviously you've played with Rudy for longer than he has. But what is it like when you are kind of a defender, and what do you have to learn about maybe playing with Rudy back there that's different than somebody else?
It gives you a lot more confidence to take that extra risk. Defensively, that aggression, knowing that you're tunneling guys downhill to Rudy, which is going to make it a lower percentage shot. And I think a lot of guys are so dynamic in this league that it's a lot easier knowing that you're not guarding them by yourself, especially if you do a well job, but you can make it just that much tougher. I think everyone nowadays, especially the elite scorers, you just see them constantly make tough shots. So it's just about trusting Rudy and your ability, but it gives you that extra confidence to know, hey, I got help. I don't have to lag. I don't have to sag off. I don't have to I can take that chance and allow myself to be a little just more aggressive. I think if you're like boxing, it's kind of the same thing. You want to be the aggressor as much as you can, and that allows us to do so.
Nikhil, in the playoffs or at the end of the season last year, your three-point volume went up, and you were really getting them up for Team Canada too. How has that kind of grown and progressed in your game to be not just a three-point shooter, but like a pretty high-volume three-point shooter?
Trusting my shot, trusting the work, and understanding that it's just going to be something that I can use to my advantage. I think last year it played in my favor with the guys we have on our team and the guys that draw so much attention. Mike is a great playmaker as well, and Ant's always going to see 2 to 3 guys. Cat's going to see 2 to 3 guys. And being able to make shots, and our focus was being able to shoot off the move would just help me and help the team.
You showed last year that you're a playoff player, and there's a ton of value that comes with that. Can you play the same way? Can you exude the same energy throughout the course of an 82-game season?
I don't see why not. I think my approach is always going to be the same throughout the season or the playoffs, because I just approach the game the same way. I have a love for the game, and I don't want to get to the playoffs and have to turn it on. I don't have that luxury. So I think for me it's about staying ready and using game 1 of preseason and help me for game 15 of the season. And then game 16 of the season is going to help me for game 82. And then 82 is going to help me for, God's willing, however deep we go into this playoffs, if we continue to do the things we're supposed to do.
Is physicality on defense something that's always kind of come naturally to you?
Not really. As I've gotten better, I've learned just small things about playing a lot of high volume players. And one thing that I can do is, with physicality as much as you can, you wear them down, and that allows you to make things difficult. You don't want to give them a rhythm, because with a rhythm, it's going to be a long night.
Pretty much the same question I was going to ask you. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you probably wouldn't have been a wing stopper. Now, you fulfilled that role in the playoffs. What have you learned? Is it about, pacing yourself or being physical? And the follow-up question would be you and Jaden working together on the floor. How do you envision that when he wants to put his best perimeter defense on the floor?
I think it could be very, very, very dynamic. One of the things Jaden does well, and then to that point as well, just a lot of teams have 2 to 3 guys. You know, he's only one man. So having someone else being able to I guess, assist him with that and take that co-leadership role defensively alongside Rudy, it kind of feels like you're able to level out as best as you can those three dynamic guys, the two high-volume scorers, or a lot of teams that are going to build around that, and that will give us a good chance, a fighting chance in a lot of games.
Keo, you might wear that medal around your neck, maybe to show Ant a little bit, or
I'm gonna keep it on ice for now, until he says something that I kind of gotta like bring him back out. But for now, you know, I'm gonna let it be. Hopefully, after the Olympics, then I have something nicer. But I would say for now, just a season until he gets carried away. Mm-hmm.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
John Krasinski from The Athletic. Leonard, just as you start your rookie season here, what's your initial vibes of how things are fitting in and how you're figuring out your way around here?
I mean, I feel welcome, so that's the start. So now it's just putting in work, going day by day, and then not really overthinking it, just like continuing to be like who I've always been, bring what I bring to this franchise and team, and help them as much as I can, any way I can.
What kind of expectation do you have for how this season is going to play out, whether it's up here, Iowa, or anything like that? How do you think it's all going to shake out that way?
I think it's gonna shake out with me getting better, regardless of what I'm doing or where I am. Like, I just think I'm gonna get a lot better. So I think that's the most important thing, honestly.
Leonard, what has it been like just getting to know some of these guys? Obviously, the draft, you got summer league, all that, but kind of more of the roster players.
I mean, knowing more and more about these guys, and throughout the guys that came in, as we're starting to get to training camp, now everybody's here. So I've seen everybody. Everybody's just a good group of guys, like good group of individuals. I like that. I feel like I feel welcomed, and I feel like I can go to them with anything. And they're just kind-hearted people, and we just have a good environment around us. So I feel like with that alone, you can go far. And like excluding like all the other stuff, like the talent we have and everything, but I feel like we're together because like all of us get along, and I get along with everybody. So.
What element of your game do you think can be immediately impactful?
I mean, my versatility, and even guarding. Like, I guard multiple positions using my what I can bring with my length on defensive end. I feel like that can be valued, and even like rebounding, running the floor, anywhere. I feel like I could play alongside everybody we have on the roster. So.
What was maybe one of the biggest things that you took away from summer league and kind of your experience playing in that environment?
Biggest thing I took away. I mean, the experience was the biggest thing I take away. I'd say, like playing in summer league is a fun thing, a competitive thing, something that is pretty big in Vegas when that time of the year comes around. But it's hard for me to really say like I took away much from. Like in terms of on-court experience, because I already played pro basketball the previous year, so I'm pretty much playing against the same guys, same talent level. I didn't really have to adjust to anything. I was really ready coming in.
There are pros and cons to both, but I don't know if you thought this way, but if you have a choice between staying with the big club and practicing but not getting into games very often, or going down to Iowa and playing a lot of steady minutes, which of those is more appealing to you?
I don't really have I can't really choose. I mean, whichever one my coach really, it's not really my decision but they both sound good, honestly. As long as I'm playing, I just like to play, get better, compete. That's all I can really do. So.
You're new to this city, to this team, to this organization. So basketball aside, what's just something that you want the city to know about you or the fans to know about you? You know, what do you do kind of when you're away from the facility, or, you know, you got a favorite food or anything like that?
I mean, I love Jamaican food. I've had some Jamaican food a bit since I've been here, maybe yeah, that's what it's called. I had that. It was pretty good. I've got many different things from that store, from Pimento, and in terms of me as a person, I feel like I'm a good human being. Like, I'm pretty genuine, and I just like to interact and just vibe with people. I like to be in the gym a lot. So whenever I got a basketball in my hand and I'm shooting or whatever, just watching the game too, or even thinking it, I just love basketball entirely. I like to watch anime. I say things like that. I like to be around people I'm close with.
Leonard, Jack Borman, SB Nation. Have you gotten a chance to talk to guys like Luka and Matt,
Yeah.
Josh, guys who've gone up and down between the NBA club and the G League club, just about what that process is like and how they've been able to grow and get better as players while, being part of two different teams?
Yeah, I've talked to them definitely. Other than that, just talk to them as people, as teammates. They're good guys. And then when it comes to that, I've asked them about it. I could clearly see from guys like Luka, what he's done, down there, he's pretty dominant, and when he plays, I can see the player that he is. So he definitely benefits, and he got better. And then guys like Josh, I see his growth, and how much better he's got. And then Matt, he's a really good player as well, could shoot the hell out the ball. But all those guys I feel are getting a lot better, and I talk to them about it. But they're also good people, as I said too. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
What's up, Jermaine?
What's up?
Last year with the injury and everything, it didn't go obviously the way that you wanted it to. How do you feel coming in physically with this year, and just how much of a difference do you expect out of yourself just being fully healthy here?
Yeah, no, I feel a lot better. Feel good. Put in a lot of work this offseason with my trainer Musa back home. Just trying to regain my explosiveness, my quickness, and just everything. But I feel good, ready to go.
Do you attribute whatever struggles or whatever things happened on the court when you were there just mostly to that injury and not having that extra gear? Was there anything else that was preventing it?
Yeah, no, I think it was just the injury. Just trying to fight through that. I wouldn't say I was 100% healthy. I was just healthy enough to get back out there. But, yeah, it just wasn't myself. Using my speed and my quickness is one of the main points of my game. And so to have that back, it should be good now.
Jordan, Finch was talking about how you guys need to find an identity here in training camp. But then when followed up, he said it needs to be a defensive-led identity. When you look at just kind of the numbers last year, you guys were top 10 defensive team, bottom 10 offensive team. Why is it so important that it starts with defense with this group?
Because you can create offense from your defense. And so if we're able to get stops and we're able to run out, a big thing, I know we talked about it last year, just converting in transition. When we get out on fast breaks, converting layups or threes, whatever it is, just capitalizing on that. So I think that would be a big thing. Once we find our defensive identity and we're able to create points off of that, then it'll just help our offense as well.
Finch also talked about how this year probably needs more offensive structure. And maybe get the free flow out of the structure. What do you think that looks like, and why is that important for this team?
I think it'll be good. It may take away some of the one-on-ones that we have throughout a game when things get kind of stagnant, and just creating that structure. We know what's coming next, and it'll give us a better opportunity on offense. So I'm open to seeing it.
you were a very prolific scorer and shooter in college. When the shooting went south toward the end of last year, were you pressing a little bit, do you think, because you could kind of tell that defenses were sagging off you? I mean, you're a smart player. You understood what was going on.
Right.
Was that part of your struggle, do you think?
No, just playing the game and doing what I normally do, just taking what the defense gives me. I just, got to go out there and knock down shots. That's all it is. Just continue to trust in my work, and when I get my opportunities, and just knock down shots.
In the times you were playing last year, if you had two big guys on the court, what do you maybe you learned being a point guard in that scenario about what are the important things the offense has to execute when you do have two big guys play? Because it seems like no matter what this year, you're probably going to have some combination of Naz, Rudy, Cat out there at all times.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I put them in the best position that I can. Making sure the spacing is right. That's always a big thing on the floor. I think if we're able to do that, then it'll run smoothly.
Was it frustrating at the end of last year? It just looked like there were things that you were trying to do that you normally could do that your body wouldn't allow you to do. Like, how did you deal with that mentally?
Yeah, I was definitely frustrating, but just trying to fight through it and push through it and try to do what I could. I was doing what I could out there, and it just wasn't enough. But just took the time to get back fully healthy this off season, and I'm just ready to go.
Do you feel like you have to reprove yourself again coming off that?
I always have to reprove myself every year, every day, and no matter what, I always got to do it.
With the structure maybe being added into the offense, there were certainly guys, I think you're probably included in that kind of thrived in the randomness of a more free-flowing scheme. Do you lose anything as a team by going away from that?
No, I don't think so. I think once we understand and figure out what that's going to be and what it's going to look like, I think overall it'll help us. Coach Finch is a brilliant coach, and he knows his X's and O's, and so we're excited to see what it'll look like.
Jordan, it's an interesting roster in terms of you and Mike, kind of prototypical point guards, but then there's a lot of guys. It's Ant, it's Kyle, it's Nikhil, a few others that might be able to also initiate offense. Just how do you enter this camp in terms of looking where you fit in here and how you find a role for yourself and hopefully, get some time?
Yeah, just going into this training camp competing. We got a lot of guys on this team that could play on any team in the NBA. And so just going in there competing, having fun, winning the day, and then just, whatever coach feels is right for the team, he'll make that decision.
Jordan, you're one of the longest tenured players on this team, which means back your rookie year, that roster was one of the smallest in the NBA. It was speed. It was stretching the floor. What has it just kind of been like over the course of your career? I mean, you've been you, but the roster and the style of which you guys want to play or have to play maybe due to the size has been so different. What has that just broadly been like over the past now 5 years?
Yeah, it's just always been different every single year. But with the roster we have now, we got a lot of size, a lot of length, a lot of guys that guard multiple positions. And so even when I'm out there, if I'm able to switch onto a bigger guy, I fight as much as I can, and then there's somebody on the backside ready to kick me out, and I'm ready to go to the backside. So we got a lot of versatility on this team, offensively and defensively. So we'll be able to give teams different looks. I've always had to prove myself since day one. Plenty of people have doubted me and said I couldn't play in the NBA. Yet here I am, my 5th year. Blessed to be here, excited to be here, and I'll just continue to work every single day. And like I said, just prove doubters wrong. Yep. Appreciate it.
Good seeing you.
Wendell, just after you had a full season under your belt, then a full summer here. How did you use this summer to try and kind of build off of it and go into year 2 here?
I mean, really, I was just here all summer, just working. Like, I mean, my body, my game, my mind state in playing the game. I'm really just everything. I mean, I'm down a couple pounds, feel lighter. I'm back healthy after summer league. Had a little setback there, so I'm feeling great now.
What did you want to concentrate on to maybe give yourself an opportunity to crack the rotation on a little more consistent basis?
I mean, really just polishing a little more stuff offensively. I mean, just being able to hit open shots, whether it's moving, standstill, my pick and roll, ball screen reads, and obviously defensively, just getting quicker, lighter, smarter, just learning the game a little more.
Wendell, when you say you're down a few pounds, is that like to the position you're wanting to be playing this year, or like maybe more of a 1-2 in that sort of way? Was that kind of the idea about slimming down?
No, not really much for like position or anything. Just like me personally, just how I want to feel. While playing, just giving myself the best chance to succeed. I mean, I feel like I'm moving a lot better. I'm healthier. So it's been well for me. So I'm gonna keep going with it.
Wendell, what was kind of been the conversation with you and the coaching staff about what they expect from you this season, rotation-wise, or kind of just what are your expectations as you talked about with them?
Yeah. I mean, I think really for me, it's just to build on everything. I mean, be ready for every opportunity I'm given. I mean, they told me that I'm going to get some opportunities, so just be ready for them. I'm continue to sharpen myself. That way, when those opportunities do come, I'll be ready for them. So.
It seemed you made a mark when you did get a chance last year with defensively. What have you maybe learned about just what it might take offensively at this level, and maybe what they want you to do versus what you think you can do at this level?
Right. I mean, really just quicker decisions. I think for me, just being able to play off the catch, just being able to adapt playing with other players, just different. Just different style of players. Just being able to play with Ant, play with Jaden, Nikhil, Mike. Whatever guard we may have out there. Shake now, Troy. So just being able to adapt and play with anybody on the floor at any given moment.
Wendell, you made great improvements at Duke from your first year till your last there and coming out. How much of it for you is about processing your environment you're in and then just gradually finding the ways to excel and make it happen for you?
I think I'd say a big part of it. I feel like the more comfortable I get in the situation, the better I can be. I feel like I can be myself a little more, just open up a little more to the guys, the coaches, staff, just show a little bit more of my personality. So I've been able to get more comfortable just being here a whole summer, just learning more about the coaches learning more about me. So it's been great.
So that you get that comfort from like familiarity with the people around you and the league in general. Is that kind of where it makes a bigger difference for you?
Really just experience. Whether it's like the experience I had last year, where there's the vets explaining their experiences with me, how things went for them. Just the more I experience things, the more comfortable I get. I feel like the kind of the better I get. Thank you.
Shake John Krasinski with The Athletic here. Can you just take us through a little bit of the process of your summer and how it started and what kind of ultimately led to you being here?
Yeah, nice to meet you, man. I think, the summer was good. You take a little time, get your body right, and you start getting your mind right, and, you just kind of following the craziness, free agency and everything that's going on, and that was my first free agency, so sitting with my agent trying to go through it. I just tried to stay present through it all. You know, it was a lot going on, but yeah, ultimately got on the phone with Coach and Tim and had conversations and just felt like the opportunity might be right, and ultimately dived in, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad to be here.
What do you like most about your fit with this group?
Yeah, I feel like I just kind of fit the theme of the team already, which is just versatility, being able to be on the ball, off the ball, and just kind of affect the game in different areas. I think that's kind of where I fit in, and I'm excited to get it going.
Nice shake. Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. When you did have those conversations with Tim and with Coach Finch, what did they kind of sell you on in terms of what your role might look like? Did they mention any minutes or anything like that, or how did that kind of process play out?
No minutes. We didn't really talk about that. It was just more so the fit, and Coach was just telling me how he liked the fact of my versatility. I could be on the ball, be a point guard, and then also have the mentality of scoring and really look to be aggressive. And I think with Mike and Ant coming in, I think I can just affect the game in many different ways, especially make an impact with the second unit too, get it going, or slide up to the first unit and help out and do what needs to be done. That's what I think it fits in so perfectly about this team. It's just the versatility and guys being able to plug in at different spots and help the team win.
When you kind of look at the roster, you probably will be on the floor with maybe two big guys at a time, whether it be Carl, Rudy, or Naz, two of those three at a time. What do you, as kind of somebody who might be playing a decent amount of point guard, what's the key to making those lineups work, especially on the offensive end?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's communication, and then also it's just probably just a little bit of feel, getting out there and really getting to experience it and developing some type of chemistry. Those are three talented bigs, and two of them, who can really step out and shoot and stretch the floor. I think that'll definitely help. But I feel like the more we get out there, the more we get reps in, I feel like everybody will just kind of develop a little chemistry that way. But I definitely see it working. It should be fun.
Shake, nice to meet you. Kind of going off of that, when you are going to a new team, you've only been on the one team, and you're looking at, all right, I'm going to be playing with Kat and Rudy and Naz, like Chris was just saying. Is that something where you're kind of like studying that, like looking at that over the course of the summer of how you might be able to, as the guard, bring more out of those bigs?
Yeah, I've definitely started to do that already. Like I'll type in guys' little highlights and, just see like some of the good games that they've had on YouTube, just check in and kind of see, how they are getting their buckets or getting the ball and, kind of how they play. It's like you sign with a team and then you just get super excited. You're like, I want to know everything. So like I'm going back on the NBA app, trying to watch games and stuff like that and just see how it would all work. And I think it will. I think I'll be able to fit right in. Just from my short time being around the guys, it seems like everybody here is unselfish and they all have a certain mentality and a certain goal in mind. And I think it's just going to be, a perfect match.
Britt Robson with Minpost. When Coach Finch was up here earlier today, he was talking about building an identity, and the word physical and physicality came into play a lot in his descriptions. As somebody who's like 6'5", over 200, playing the 1 or the 2 sometimes, do you play a physical game? Do you utilize that size advantage you often have on the ball?
I definitely do. I feel like I have to, not just being the quickest or the most athletic guy. I definitely feel like I use my force when I'm going downhill and I'm attacking. I feel like you have to do that. But then also defensively, just the lineups that we'll be able to have, we'll have a bunch of, taller, longer, guys who can really stay in front and then also cover for one another. So then it opens up the defense even more, being able to switch and things like that. So I think it'll be fun.
Another aspect that might fit. This team was very poor on the boards a lot, particularly in the offensive glass on occasion compared to previous seasons. Your metrics show a pretty good proclivity for getting offensive rebounds and putbacks. Is that part of your game, and how are you? Was that kind of system, or was that you more in Philly?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't know that. I think I was a very good offensive rebounder. Most times they're telling me to get back on defense. Be the first line of defense. But I feel like I can, and I feel like once I kind of get a feel for what the team's strategy is, like sometimes if shots happen and you're in the corner, they do give you freedom to kind of go in and crash, just depending on where you are to the ball. So it just depends. But I think above all else, it just starts with the mentality of it, you know what I mean? And if we can carry that mentality, start the mentality now, and then just continue to build it and make it a point of emphasis, I think we can definitely turn up and do some things.
Do you think playing with Joel as many years as you did as kind of a dominant big helps you? I mean, obviously Rudy and Cat are both distinct from Joel, three very different players.
Mm-hmm.
But just having that size and that low post presence, both on offense and on defense, is that helpful, having that history?
Yeah, I think it definitely is helpful, just kind of knowing how big guys move, where they will be out on the floor. And, Joel definitely helped me a lot on defense, and I'm sure Rudy and Cat are going to help me a ton on defense too. You know what I mean? You try to stay in front, you try to do the best you can, but if you can just kind of funnel them into the big sometimes, the big will clean up a lot of your mistakes. So I'm definitely grateful to have them, and I'm excited to get playing with them.
A couple days ago, you celebrated your 27th birthday, so
Yeah.
happy belated. I have to ask, this plain cake thing, has that always been your style, or did you have a run-in with icing in the past?
First off, I appreciate it. Second of all, icing has never been my thing, man. Like, even as a kid, I would get the icing and I would, just scrape it off, So it's never been my thing. My whole family calls me weird for it, but, my mom would always just make me a little cake, you know what I mean? Like, to myself, a little personal cake, no icing. So that's all I really need, man. It's just simple. I feel like the icing is just too much, too sweet, bro. So it gets me right.
Do you have a go-to dessert then, though? Is it plain cake?
Plain cake.
Plain cake.
Plain
All right, good
cake.
to know.
I like cheesecake a little bit too, depending on where I get it from. But plain cake, bro. Yeah, most definitely. Like, even my ice cream, just straight vanilla, no nothing on it, none of that. Yeah, yeah, simple. So.
Shake Darren Wolfson from the local ABC affiliate.
What's
Happy
up, man?
belated birthday.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, you don't like icing. What else will surprise us about you as we get to know you this entire year? What will surprise
I
us?
can't give away all my tricks and trades, man, but I feel like just through the season, man, we'll just, kind of get to know one another. I'm excited. I love shoes, man. I try to design my own shoes. I do that. I don't know, man. The more time we spend together, I feel like we'll kind of get to know each other. So we'll see. Yeah.
Shake, just for we didn't watch you every single day, so how much would you say you played the 1 versus the 2? And it sounds like they are going to lean on you a lot, maybe for playmaking and initiating. Just how much of that did you do in Philly versus being off the ball and playing there?
Honestly, it was a good mixture. It was a good mixture depending on what lineups I was playing with. When I was on the floor with James, mainly I would be kind of off ball, but I'm on the floor with Tyrese and DeAnthony. I would be kind of be on ball too, and me and Tyrese could kind of ping pong back and forth between on the ball, off the ball. I was on the ball and off the ball in college too, so it's kind of been something I've done my whole life. I'm used to it. Especially now, if you look at where the game is going these days, you just kind of have ball playmakers, you know what I mean? That's kind of where the game is, and I feel like guys are getting so much more talented. You see these young guys coming in. It's just they're able to do so much. So it really becomes less about, just shooting or just playmaking. Most guys can just play basketball, and I think that's kind of where I fit in. It's just being able to play the game of basketball, whether that be on the ball or off the ball. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
John Krasinski from The Athletic. Troy, welcome. Can you take us through your summer a little bit and just kind of how it ended up that you ended up landing here and what brought you this way?
Summer was, obviously we finished up season, and I just kind of went in the summer just not really knowing where I was going to go. I didn't really have any, you hear a couple things here and there, but nothing was for sure. And then first day of free agency, I got a call from the Timberwolves, and they were very adamant about having me here. And so I felt like it was a good opportunity for me, and I'm very happy to be here. So,
what did you like most about the fit that made you want to go for it?
I love Coach's style of play. We played them in the play-in game. We played them a couple of times during the year when I was in LA, and just the way they move the basketball, the way they drive and kick, even how they play defense, just the philosophies and stuff like that. I feel like it definitely fits my versatility. You can see the guys on the team, we have a lot of length. So, yeah.
Troy, talking to some of the staff, they're not just excited about you as a shooter offensively, but also as a playmaker. How do those two elements of your game kind of fuse together, playmaking and shooting?
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, it lets me play more free. I feel like as a three-point shooter sometimes, you don't get shots. That's just what it is, and maybe guys are getting to the basket. Maybe it's just not your night or whatever, but I feel like for me personally, being able just to play make, and I love passing. I love watching other guys score off of an assist. That's more of my style of play. It definitely just gives me more confidence to play, and, I'm very excited about it. They've definitely been letting me pass it in practice, so I just feel like myself, and I feel very confident. So.
Troy, Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. You had a number of guys on the Lakers last year who were here in Minnesota. When you were going through the process, did you reach out to any of those guys and kind of ask them what it was like to be here, or did you just kind of come to it on your own?
No, I think for me personally, I just wanted my own dialogue of the situation, my own thought process of it, especially just because we're all different players. We all have different fits for different teams and stuff like that. And so, of course, like when guys get traded, you obviously ask them about the teams and stuff like that. But from coming to Minnesota, I just wanted a clean start and just wanted to get my own idea of the organization.
And, I imagine you do this when you're in free agency. You kind of look at, what the depth chart might look like,
Right.
where am I going to get my minutes, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of view that situation, that competition as you enter training camp?
I think that's what can make us really good this year is just our depth. I think we have a lot of guys with a lot of talent, with a lot of versatility, and I think being able to make sure that we're on top of our games because somebody else behind us could possibly take our minutes is something that keeps teams honest and keeps everybody working hard. And so I don't mind it, but yeah, I mean, if anything, like I said, I think it's going to make us really good this year.
Coach Finch had talked about that he saw some of your college film too in terms of being a playmaker, and he said you were playmaking back then too. Are you? Can you be a classic one sometimes? Are you more of a 1-2, even bordering on a 3 sometimes when it comes to the NBA?
Yeah, I played point guard my whole life until I got to probably like college. So I definitely am used to playing point guard and having the ball in my hands. I like being more of like a triple-double threat. I feel like just based off of the way the league has progressed and what teams have need, I've had to adjust my game to be 3-and-D. But like I said earlier, I just feel like passing the ball, being able to rebound and push it, and still being able to play defense, shoot threes. It just lets me play an overall game to where like I feel like I have more control over it, and like I said, my confidence is sky high.
In LA's system, who did you guard mostly defensively?
Usually more of the shooters. Usually more so like chasing guys off of screens, and more so of trying to like top lock screens. Like if we play like Golden State, I guard like Klay Thompson or guys like that.
Right.
More using my length. So.
And you've had experience with AD, obviously, as a shot blocker, funneling, so that they have Gobert here.
Yeah.
Kind of similarities there to that extent.
Yeah, for sure. I think just being able to know you have somebody behind you that can block shots, it definitely changes your defense, and definitely just as a defender gives you a lot more confidence, especially knowing, we have a defensive player of the year under his belt and that, he's there to protect the rim. So I think it definitely helps a lot.
Troy, you found out certainly in LA about playing off of stars and like just kind of playing that role. Like what is key for you? Why can you excel in that? And I mean, you come here, Ant, Cat, and there's going to be guys with gravity that maybe can open things up for you.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those things for me personally. Like, I try to pay a lot of attention when I watch film to both sides or all sides of things. So, like, maybe Ant has the ball on the wing and I'm up too far in the corner, and if I would have just slid down just a little bit, it would have gave him enough space to score. Just stuff like that, to where it's like I try to look at the overall game of basketball, not just what I'm doing on the court, in order to help other people. And I think that helps me a lot, just because, like I said, I did used to play point guard, so I can kind of see it a little better. So it definitely helps me on the wing.
Troy, you mentioned being attracted to Finch's style of play, but as an opponent, when you were playing against the Wolves last year, what stood out about this team? What made them a difficult team to play?
I would just say the relentless ball movement during some times of the game, especially with the second unit. They force you to make rotations, and I think that at this level, that is a huge thing. You know, when you see the ball flying around and you're forcing guys that don't want to play defense to have to rotate and stuff like that, I think it really puts people in a bind, to where it's like everybody has to be on their high horse and ready to rotate, and sometimes guys aren't. So I think it definitely puts a lot of pressure on teams. Cool. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Josh, just after Summer League, how did you kind of use the rest of the summer to kind of get prepared and ready for your year two here?
I'd say just continue to sharpen my weaknesses, continue with my lateral quickness, continue to just work on that shot, ball handling, just a little bit of everything, really. I'd say it's been more live stuff after Summer League. You know, before it's more like individual stuff like that. Now it's like, started getting to like little live competing stuff like that, and it's been fun.
What kind of expectations do you have coming into this season in terms of role, in terms of just how your development is going to go here?
I'm really just looking for someone to just do the dirty, or looking to be someone to just do the dirty work, whether that be cutting, next to ISOs, or slips, a lot of screen and rolls, rebounding, defending, and just looking to carve out a role this year and see where it branches into.
How much different does it feel just from a familiarity standpoint for you coming into your second camp here and knowing coaches, knowing the city, knowing all that stuff?
I'd say it's a lot easier. I know I'm far from it, but I almost feel like a vet, even though I know I'm not. But it's it's good to be in the same city. I feel like it's all the same people. I'm looking at all the same faces. Especially in this room too. It's just good to, I guess, walk in knowing more, instead of just, being new to the whole thing.
Josh, coming into the league as a young player, and you're going to be growing into your body over the course of your career, but obviously the first few years, what has that been like for you? Obviously, you come in as a really, really high level athlete, and then getting bigger and stronger. What does that bring to your game?
I'd say it's fun, just discovering the new things I can do because of the weight room. I feel like now I'm more physical in drives than I was year one. I know I used to take like a real wide arc to the basket, and I feel like recently I've been a little more, prone, or like I don't fear contact as much. Not saying I feared it, but you get the gist. But I feel like, in terms of like weight gain, it's coming along. I'm still trying, a little rough, but I feel like I'm definitely getting stronger, and I think that's what it's all about in the end. And overall, I feel like my game on the court, because of what I'm doing in the weight room, is definitely altering.
And it seemed like during Summer League you talked a lot about defensively, that role of being a perimeter defender, and then also developing the three-point shot. I don't know, it's just a couple months ago, but how are those two elements of your game growing as well?
I mean, it's just something to continue to work on. It's been fun just over the summer with my teammates, just competing, and I mean, it's been some great people to go against. I was with Dell most of the summer. A bunch of free agents came through. It was just good, to get that opportunity to play against high-level talent. And I mean, every day I can walk into the gym and just get that experience. I mean, it's a blessing.
When you've gotten minutes, you've been able to make a lot of things happen. You seem to be like a catalyst in that particular way. But a lot of those situations are chaotic situations. You seem to thrive in chaos. And I'm wondering, as this team concentrates a little bit more on being a little more structured and settled, is that going to affect some of the ways that you operate best?
I'd say that I'm someone that, I mean, the whole reason I'm here is basically because I feel like I'm coachable. I feel like I'm able to adapt to different situations. I don't think there's ever been a coach that was like, they were telling me something and, they were like, he's just not getting it. I feel like I'm willing to change anything about my game. I feel like that's what makes it so unique is the fact that I'm willing to make, essentially any sacrifice I need to be able to make a team better. And, just look for different ways I can, fill any gaps the team has. And so I'm looking to do this year.
Yeah, I guess part of what I was saying is you seem to have really good instincts on the court, and to some extent, when instincts collide with structure, is that going to be more difficult?
I'd say I should welcome the challenge. I don't feel like I only thrive in chaos, but, I feel like I can play some organized basketball too as well. But yeah, I like to think that, offensively, I understand the game to a point where I can be effective without necessarily relying on my athleticism. Just seeing where different things open up. And as we get more organized, especially, I know we've had a couple of trades, we're still trying to figure each other out and figure out how to play with each other. So I feel like, as we get organized, I feel like I'll continue to, I guess, understand how we play more and continue to just change with whatever direction we go. I still plan on causing chaos on defense, though. I'll tell you that,
I saw earlier this summer you were able to, it looks like buy your mom a car for her birthday. I know you've only been in the league for a year, but truly, how fulfilling is that to be able to use an accomplishment that you've had making it to the league to kind of give back to the people that have supported you growing up?
I mean, it's a dream come true, honestly. I feel like everyone dreams about, buying their mom a car or a house or, and it's just to be able to do that, I mean, it was a blessing. And, I'm someone, I don't really share much with the world, but I felt like that was something that was like, man, I've had that on my bucket list since I was 5. And so I had since I had a brain, really. And, that was exciting for me. And that was the moment I wanted to share with the world for sure. And, I mean, it's just a blessing to be in this position. I just want to, share that light with the world. If I can go out, I'm somewhere, I'm not big into publicity, but, if you see me, I might buy you a coffee or something, something like that. But no, it's just I'm blessed to be in this position. I feel like I just want to use what God's given me to just give back.
Josh, you're on a team that is kind of more veteran at the top of it. How do you balance your ambition and living your dream and trying to make an impact on the court as soon as you can with maybe a little bit of patience, so if the playing time doesn't come right away, that you don't get totally discouraged by that?
Yeah, I'd say it's all about just mental approach, honestly. The way I approach each day is there's always something to learn, no matter what. Even if I don't have those minutes that game or something like that, I mean, I can always watch film on those vets, and I mean, there's always something to observe, Something someone really close to me told me is the day you stop learning is the day you die. And it's like, even if you don't want to or you're not open to it, you're going to learn something every single day, whether it's something about someone or about something, or maybe you notice, weather change, something like that, but there's always something to learn. So I feel like that's just the approach I had last year, especially with the opportunity given. And that's probably the approach I'll have, this year as well. I'm always going to have that same ambition, obviously, selfishly, I want to play basketball, but it's just there's always something to learn, and no matter what opportunity is given, I'm just gonna use the opportunity to get better, perfect my craft, and just always stay ready. Got it. Appreciate it.
Jalen, John Krasinski with The Athletic. Saw you tweet the other day that.
My fault.
That-
I was trying to scoot up a little bit.
Saw you tweet the other day that maybe you're feeling better than some people might expect. Can you just tell me what you were going through when you're saying that and what you're trying to how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, it's just good to get back on the court. Like I said, especially with my decision to leave college, obviously people that talk about it, I really don't care if I'm being blunt. Like everybody's gonna live out your dreams. Pretty sure people told you will never be able to sit in front of NBA players and speak and do what you love, and vice versa for everybody else here. Everybody took a shot and risked something at some rate to be able to be here doing what they love for a living. So it was just when something that what happens to me, you just don't ever know if you'll really get back. Like I didn't when I tore my Achilles in college, off a normal steel layup, step back, boom. It's is this really it? Is everything I worked for my whole life just gone in an instant? So when I got here, I was working every day. First one in, sometimes last one to leave. I'm here crazy long hours, and it's now I get to I'm coming off ball screens again and stuff, working on my jump shot every day. And little things like that where it's hey, I wasn't even supposed to be doing this according to X people that talk to me or trying to give me advice with if I should leave or come back. So it's just been a blessing, this whole process. The people there, the people here, Tim Conley, John, everybody that's involved with the organization, even the players, Naz and all of them, everybody's been you could tell it's different. It's a very family-oriented place. So yeah, it's been cool though.
So for you now, given the progress that you've already shown, what's the next step for you as you kind of continue to work your way back?
Yeah, just not getting that itch. It's hard, man. When you watching people play basketball and you're getting paid to kind of watch basketball now, not play. It's hard just to sit there and just be all right, I'm cool with just not playing. So I gotta do the smartest thing, obviously, with what my body's telling me to, because I'm trying to never have nothing like this ever happen again. Back when I was doing that, I wasn't taking stretching seriously. It was just touch my toes 2 times and all right, I'm good to play. So especially with how I play too, because I have a bowling ball mentality and I'm flying everywhere and doing all crazy stuff. So I just want to limit as many injuries as possible. So my next step really is just being patient with this. And then whenever I get fully cleared and everybody feels comfortable with me moving on, then go ahead and getting back on the court.
Do you hope that happens at some point this season? How do you?
Yeah, I would closer to the back end of it. I would hope for me to be able to get a game or two, something towards on the back end. But obviously that depends on a lot of other things. So not a priority by no means. So
you referenced Naz. Naz joined this team on a 2-way. Jordan did. A lot of these guys, Luka, that have kind of grown from that. Have you talked to them or kind of thought about what that progression can look like for you?
Yeah, especially J-Mac, because we were from the same city, went to the same high school. He went to my crosstown rival, but same everything. I think the work speaks for itself. If I don't tear my Achilles, I don't know where I'm at right now. But I think what I do is needed everywhere. People that just play hard nose on the other end. If I'm able to knock down open shots, I think I'll be able to work my way up at a good pace.
Chris Hine from the Star Tribune, you mentioned kind of getting paid to watch basketball now. What are you maybe able to learn or glean from just being around the facility, being around the team?
I watch a lot. Mike Conley's one of the people I always sit down and watch. I call him Uncle Mike. It's how efficient they get through things. And he don't show no emotion. I haven't seen him miss much. I can't honestly say I've seen him miss 3 shots in a row, but I imagine if he did, he wouldn't like all body language and all. That's not him. He's very like, it's so weird, but he's like always like in a weird like so even kill. Like I've never seen somebody that doesn't get high when it's high and low when it's low. Like he's very smooth the whole way out. And I've been watching Mike since my mom went to Ohio State, so I've been following Mike since the whole way through, and that's just kind of been him the whole time. So to be able to like watch these people that you used to watch and play video games with like in person, like I kind of have courtside seats to watching every single person I kind of looked up to and want to learn something from, because I don't know how Mike's been in the league how many years, 14, 15, like it's a long time. So that's not, like stuff I'm trying to achieve. There's people in front of me that have done it and are willing to like help. So
The Achilles has been in the news a lot lately with another California athlete, Aaron Rodgers, tearing his Achilles. Has there been a specific thing you've learned through your recovery process, or there's this journey that, like advice that you would give to someone else, whether it be an athlete or just kind of a normal person going through this?
Live in the moment. Don't take stuff for granted. Like when I was at UCLA, around December, January, I was kind of like, oh, I'm out of here. Like I ain't coming back to school. So then them games and stuff, and that's when I hit a slump. Like as soon as I start thinking like that, I'll hit a crazy slump. And then you just kind of, not regret, but it's stuff that I wish I would have appreciated and cherished more that I didn't, because I was just like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm just like in my mindset, it was just like I'm good enough. I want to go do this. Everybody wants to do it in their life. Whereas I feel like if you live more in the moment, just whatever happens, you appreciate and you can say, well, I lived this out to the fullest, so I'm okay with closing it. Because how everything happened with me at UCLA, the way my season ended and everything, I wasn't like the most happiest person. I was close to breaking records and doing things that I probably could have did if I had just stayed focused and didn't have them 6-7 games where I played like trash and just kept consistent pace. And all of it was really just a mindset.
Jaylen, I imagine you've played your whole life then to go from playing all the time to not at all. What's it like just to not be in it every day, not be getting shots up every single day, all those things, and just kind of having it stop?
Yeah, when it first happened, it was weird. But like when it first happened, I was still happy because I was happy for the biggest person I was happy for. I know he don't play for the Timberwolves, but was Amari Bailey, because when I went out, he kind of took over in my spot, and then he really flourished. Like his numbers from before I went out to when I went out was traumatic, and I really care for the kid. Like Amari, a great person. So it was one of these things was like, damn, I'm out. But like now that I'm out, let's go. Like me and him would talk after every game. We watch film together. Like that was one of the cooler things about it. So I was still involved because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to be successful so I can help other people. Like I know I'm gonna be able to take care of myself at the end of the day, regardless that's with hundreds of millions of dollars or a few thousand. But I just like the more that I get and receive, the more I can give out and give back to people that really need it. Because I understand what it's like not to have much. So. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed day, man.
Luka, you had an unbelievable season in Iowa last year and fit in well when you had time up here. Naz and Kat and Rudy are all back. Like, how do you just see your role here and fitting in and what the opportunity is here for you?
Yeah, I think for this year especially, I'm a be ready when the opportunity comes type of guy. I think I was able to do that last year, obviously through injuries and different things. I mean, especially in the 82-game season, 1 through 17, 18, whatever it is going to get an opportunity at some point. So it's being ready for that opportunity. So for me, it's just committed daily to, improving myself and making sure that, when that opportunity comes, I'm ready for it and I can help this team in whatever way I can. And so to come in for a night and or whatever, and just be able to help the team win and make it not as bad to be without the bigger guys that we have.
When you were working out this summer, is there a certain area that you were really focusing on just to make yourself as ready as possible for what they're going to call on for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to work on all parts of my game, but obviously, the defensive side of the ball has always been, more of the question marks surrounding my game. So that's always something I continue to address every single offseason. And I think there's many levels to that. Obviously, watching film and also exposing myself in situations where I'm guarding quicker players or whatever it is, playing ones where I'm only on defense. I've done a lot of different things, me and my dad, and also here with Joe Boylan and the player development staff. They did a really good job of kind of having a plan for me this summer. And then on the other side of it, working on my body. I think that's one of the biggest transitions I made this year. I was close to 11-12% body fat at the beginning of the summer. I'm like 6.6 right now, so I've made quite a jump in that area, and that's allowed me to feel like I'm moving better, but keep some of the strength. And I've made huge weight changes in the past where I felt like I lost muscle and fat, you know what I mean? And I just didn't feel as strong. And obviously, my game is a lot of banging, a lot of moving guys, and so the strength is kind of necessary. So I think I did it in a much cleaner way, and I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. So I feel really good right now, really confident going into this year. And for me, I continue to strive to learn and get as good as I can be. And being around Naz, Kat, and Rudy are three great examples of bigs who have done a lot in this game so far and will continue to do. And those are guys I can learn from every single day.
Luka, what did it mean to play internationally this summer, and how did that experience help you improve this summer?
Yeah, it meant the world to me. I think, number one, just the type of basketball it was, the intensity, the passion, every single possession, every single game was so refreshing. It was something that, it's hard to replicate that when people are playing for their country. It's awesome to be a part of, and I was able to experience that with my first cousin. He was on the team with me, Omar Alabegovic, and that was he's like a brother to me. Growing up, after every school year, we'd go over and see my whole family in Europe and be over there for 2-3 months, the whole summer really, and so I know how much that country means to my family. My grandmother still lives in the city, so being there and during training camp and being able to go see her and all of that, and also my late grandfather, who was kind of a legend in that area as a goalie for FK Sarajevo and a bunch of different teams. I know it meant a lot for me, but it meant a lot for my whole family, for me to be able to do that, because I know he'd be proud looking at his two grandsons wearing that jersey.
Significantly less important than all that related to the Bosnian team, but you were playing next to Nurkic
yes.
A lot of times, so I mean, kind of your first experience playing a lot of four.
For sure.
What was that like to play alongside another center?
Yeah, it was an adjustment. I definitely enjoyed it, though. It was different. I think for me, it gave me an advantage at the four when they put a smaller guy on me. I think I was able to have 25 rebounds in 5 games, or 25 offensive rebounds in 5 games in the competition. So it gave me quite an advantage on the glass when they put the bigger guy on Nurk. So I was able to get, maneuver myself under the basket versus when switches were happening and all of that stuff. That allowed me to kind of have an impact on that end. Defensively, we did a lot of 1 through 4 switching. I felt really comfortable in that. Obviously, been working on that in my game, but I also did a little bit of high drop as well, depending on the team we were playing, or whatever the case may be. I think it's interesting I think maybe it's the type of style of basketball it is or whatever. I think it was different for me. I felt like I got less threes off because it was like every pick and pop, they're switching that, instead of like a guy being in a drop. So that was the only downside that I didn't love as much was I felt like I wasn't able to, get as many threes off. But I think, obviously I'd be in the corner more as a 4, so, there's more opportunities there. But just from the pick and roll standpoint, it was more like they'd switch them and I'd roll them down and try to get a post up, which, I definitely enjoy because, it allowed me to take advantage of, smaller defenders, and that's kind of where I did most of my damage. But I enjoyed it, also try to run the floor. Nurk's more of a kind of a delay kind of big where he won't run the rim so as much. So, I kind of took advantage of doing that as well. So it was a new experience. Like you said, I've never played the 4 in my life. I've never played alongside another, big like that. I'd play the 5 at Iowa with a bigger 4, but not vice versa. So it was definitely an experience. It's something I'd be willing to, continue to learn and improve in that area as a 4, just because I feel like I can shoot the ball well enough to be, a 4. But, I think naturally I'm more of a 5.
And then you talk about the body transformation and losing the weight, but just talking to some of the staff, you also when you change your body mass, it's kind of changing the ways in which you move, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the style you run or slide or
Yeah.
whatever. How did you kind of relearn your body as you lost the weight?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. Like I said, in the past when I kind of lost a lot of muscle as well, it was a little bit harder of an adjustment. I feel like I'm still, I'm more efficient at this weight than I'm at, 248, but not as, kind of lean. So I feel like I'm almost as strong as I am there. But it definitely is an adjustment. But there's certain things that, I kind of learned to do that can give me advantages. Obviously, I'm running the floor better at this weight. So, running the floor in general, you can create a mismatch just off that if the big doesn't want to run with me and they have to put a guard on me. And so that helps the whole team out, whether I go to the dunker and then we play off that or, I'm able to get an early post up. So I think, kind of just finding ways to kind of take advantage of, the way I'm moving, but also kind of the strength that I still have is something that, you kind of have to continue to adjust and adapt to. But, obviously I've been playing all summer, and so I've had a chance to do that a little bit, yeah.
You had said even before you lost the weight that you like a high wall defense.
Yes.
Obviously, the weight change and the body sculpting changes makes that even more advantageous for you in that type of defense?
Yes, I still think, and I think, the coaches think similar, that that's probably the best coverage for me, the one where I can really impact the game best on the defensive end is in a high wall. Obviously that requires a lot of rotating from the other guys and me as well, getting back to the big. But I think I've tried to work and expose myself in a lot of the different coverages, whether it be high drop, and also switching. So I think I've improved myself in all of those 3 areas, and I think I'm a guy that can be switched into different coverages more so than I was last year.
I mean, it's crazy. You're kind of molding yourself into a 4-5, and this team has a pair of 4-5s who
Yes.
started as centers and became 4-5s. I mean, is that something where you still think you'll probably, if you get minutes, it'll be at the 5 because of that?
Yeah, I still think, obviously, it's obviously in coach's hand, not mine, but I still think in general I'm looked at more as a 5. I think, showing this summer that I could play the 4 a little bit, could lead to more opportunities down there, but I think mostly I still will see my time mostly at the 5.
Do you think that some of your problems on defense were positioning and stuff like that more than just necessarily lack of strength? I mean, were you raw on defense as well as being slower?
Yeah, no, I definitely think, I think there's ways that you can, kind of maximize what you have, and that's what I'm trying to do. So becoming more of a, a smarter defender, more of a high IQ defender, watching a little bit more film, trying to take charges, using my hands better, things that I, especially the hands is definitely something that I've worked on a lot this summer is, it makes it easier if I'm able to, kind of deflect the ball or, change it in that way, so it's not kind of downhill 2-on-1 at me in a drop. So I think there's a lot of things you can do to improve yourself on that end, and I'm really experimenting anything I can to try to help me in that way. I think obviously a lot of it does come from the lateral, lateral movement that I've had problems with the past, and obviously, at the rim, not being able to rise and really challenge guys at the highest levels. But, there's always ways around it. There's always a way to make it work. You see guys like Jokic who, obviously people don't talk about it, but he really anchors their defense really well in the drop and different things, using his hands, positionally being better than, I've, been in the past. So I'm definitely working on anything I can to try to, help max myself.
And what was it that Joe Boylan basically instructed you to do aside from the weight stuff? What are your areas of focus?
He put me in a lot of different situations where I'd be exposed in that way. Whether it be, in our off-season workouts, it was a lot of, mimicking the things that happen in the game. The attacking me in pick and roll. Me being on defense for, an entire session of a workout, you know what I mean, where I'm just in drop, or he switches the coverage from drop to switch to high wall or whatever, and and then breaking down film of what I did in Bosnia or just from last year as well. So I think he did a really good job in making, and does a really good job in general for all of the players on the team on creating game-like situations within a workout session, and I think that's where you see the most improvement is when you're doing more game-like reps versus just like standing in the corner and shooting 10 threes. So I think those situations, obviously with the guys that we have, if I'm covering Anthony Edwards off a pick and roll and a drop, there's no better person on planet Earth for me to be guarding to help improve myself than a guy like that. And then obviously, with the other younger guys we have, Wendell and all those guys who are at the same time they're working on their offense and their reads and their coverages. In the pick and roll, I'm working on, myself and what I need to improve on. So he did a really good job of doing that this summer. And when I was away from here, I think in Bosnia, experimenting with the 1-through-4 switch and trying that and doing that in practice, having some success with that. And then, anytime I can, kind of searching out different situations to make me as uncomfortable as possible, and guarding guys are quicker, faster, in an effort to try to improve in that area.
I've seen a lot of photos this summer of you and Rudy working out, whether it be at the facility or overseas. How has your relationship with him grown? And do you get the sense as he enters year 2 with still kind of a new team and a new group of guys that he's more comfortable here?
Absolutely. I think, it was really an amazing opportunity for me. He invited me to come out to Paris and work out with him for a week. That was right before I had training camp with the national team, so it really prepared me well. But first of all, just being around him, his daily routine, and how serious he takes it, his recovery, his nutrition, all of the different things he does, he's the best that I've ever been around in those areas. So it was really fun for me to experience that, as well as being on court with him, playing one-on-one, going through different moves, working with his trainer, Nandez, who does, a lot of different neural work and a lot of different, kind of an interesting style of training for basketball that I absolutely love. And, I think I saw, from when I seen him at the end of the year to, in July, I just saw him improve in so many strides, like his touch around the basket, his hooks, there's different things that he was working on. It was really, really cool to see in that way. And I definitely think he's now going to be a lot more comfortable coming in this year. Obviously he'd been in Utah his whole career, and this is kind of a different system in a little different ways, especially, on the defensive end and also on the offensive end. So I think a year of learning and growing with that, getting used to playing with another center or another 4 or 5 guys, an adjustment that, it's easier said than done. So I think a year of that under his belt is going to, serve him well. But, the guy works. He takes this serious. He every day he's doing something to help improve himself, his body, his game, all of that. And so it's fun to be around.
Did you convince him to start letting it fly a little bit from 3?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that too. It's really interesting how how good of a shooter he really kind of is, and the touch that he has, and he has been working on it. I think I don't know how that's going to come into the fold because of just how the presence he has around the rim offensively, not only just him scoring, but just the weight that he kind of takes, that creates shots for other people. But, we'll see if he, that's more of a coach question, than me. But I've seen him make them. I've seen him make them consistently in workouts and stuff like that. It's a whole different thing, obviously, adding that in game. But obviously, we saw in France he looked comfortable and the shot looked fluid. And, if he can continue to work on the consistency of the form and all of that kind of stuff and being comfortable shooting them, obviously that's something down the line that, if he continues to work at, that's the one thing. If the guy's working on it and he's consistently working on it and it's going in and he starts making them, it's nothing, you can say. If he makes them, everyone's going to want him to shoot them if he's making them. Yeah.